welcome lads. Welcome, Dad.
Morning, son. Thank you.
New show, but a new show as part of Pick Ya to Crack,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to keep the original show, and that'll be for anything non-footy related. Because football is such a big part of the show, we thought we'd do a monthly show dedicated to it. And I'll be one of the hosts, whether people like that or not. It's my show, so I'll be one of the hosts. And we've got Stuart Brightwell and Tommy Miller. So the three of us will be the regular hosts, and we'll get special guests on. And intermittently, you'll be back, Dad, to give your input.
Yeah, my humble opinion.
70-odd years of this
experience.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then we'll get some special guests on, and we can talk about that another time, who we're going to get, and we'll release that week by week. But I think, Stu, if I can come to you, just the point of the show. We were talking before we started recording there about just football in general, and how you can just sit down and talk about football. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think, people go out, don't they, and socialise probably just to have a bit of crack about football. So this is kind of that without the alcohol, just talking about footy. And, I do it every day at work. We sit, we put the highlights on, and we just literally spend an hour, 2 hours just talking about the games, and people have their opinions. Absolutely. And there's, little divides, and people are hammering others and stuff like that. But it's brilliant banter, and I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And Tom, you're the same. Love talking about footy.
Absolutely. You can speak to a lot of people, and they'll just talk about football all day.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic sport. We all love it, and it takes you to different places, different topics. So it's great.
Yeah. And it can make or break your weekend sometimes as well. We make it worse for ourselves in that we follow Sunderland, but we've got this Man United thing always there in the background. So we get hit twice sometimes, and a lot recently. I think it was a couple of weekends ago when Sunderland got beat and Man United got beat. That's a bad weekend.
It is.
And then you can have a great weekend when they both win.
It's been more Man United disappointments than
absolutely.
it has Sunderland.
And I'll be perfectly honest, I would prefer to watch Sunderland than watch Man United at the moment. They're a better team to watch. They're more entertaining. They've got more of a clue.
Which is the energy levels that are the difference for me. When you can talk about skill and tactics all day long, but when you watch a team like Sunderland who, don't just rely on it, but are heavily focused on the work ethic. I mean, I watched the Liverpool game, and not many teams go to Liverpool and have spells of possession like Sunderland did. And they earned that off the way they worked off the ball and made it difficult for Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think yesterday was a free hit. I think they had one eye on the derby. Xhaka was on a booking. Deaky was on a booking. They probably look at that game. Yeah, we'll play them, but it was a free hit yesterday for me. They didn't want to lose players going into a big derby like that.
Yeah. There's a question for you there. Tom, if you're a pro and you've got a big game like that coming up, and you're on a booking, do you have discussions around getting booked so you can miss a game you're not that fussed about?
I think certain players probably would, yeah. Other players, it's probably not in their nature, they're probably just full on week in, week out, every game, it matters. I mean, it matters to everyone, but certain players are different, but there could have been one or two sort of protecting themselves and with an eye on the derby, definitely.
Would you say, if you were on a booking, at one booking away from a suspension, and your next game was the big Tyne away derby, that must have a percentage drop off on your performance because of not willing to go that extra yard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what type of player you are as well, because a lot of players love a tackle. There's certain players who it's not the biggest strength, so they're more of a flair player. So you're picking up bookings now for kicking the ball away, all sorts of different reasons. But if you're fully committed and you're one of these ones who tackles anything that moves, i.e. a Trey Hume, it's probably not in his nature to think, well, this game I'm not going to tackle as much because that's not his game, He's full on committed and tackles. Like I just said, he'll tackle the brick wall if it was in front of him.
But I think them two yesterday, Sadiq and Jack out, they must have always had one little thing in the back of their mind thinking, you can't get boot. That has to have you can't be at your maximum. I don't care what anybody says. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I will say is the Liverpool game would have took a hell of a lot out of them.
Yeah, true.
They've gone to Anfield, and should have won, really, emotionally, yeah, absolutely. And they grafted their socks off, didn't they? Like they do week in, week out. Yeah. But I think the Man City game was probably just a game too far or whatever, a game too much, as we say.
And that just what you've said there as well about tiring them out. my worry is, and they have got a decent squad, but I think they've got their 11 or 12 who they use weekly.
Yeah.
My worry is, have they got enough to keep it rotating it, to keep it fresh? That's my worry.
And you've got the African nations
I
coming
know.
up, by the way, which I
Definitely,
think they're going to
yeah.
lose 6-7, is it?
7.
Which
And
is a
the-
massive hit on the squad.
The ironic thing is, we go to Man City and we stop Haaland from scoring,
Exactly.
and then they come up with 2 worldies at least.
2 defenders, wasn't it, as
Yeah,
well? One from a
yeah.
set piece, and obviously Diaz hits a worldie from 25, 30 yards out.
I think there's more defenders scoring this season than ever. You know, when you look at.
Set pieces, long
Yeah,
throws.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when if you're looking to do your bet builders, or you honestly, for a daft little bet, you're better off putting some centre halves in there now.
Yeah.
Gvardiol scoring. There's other centre backs within the league.
That's right.
Well,
You know,
Arsenal, you know what I mean?
aye.
With the set pieces, they rely heavily on them, don't they?
Uh-huh.
But the game's changed a little like that, Tom, like you called out there. It went into, people blame Guardiola for it, actually, that it was like this football thing.
Mhm.
So playing out from the back, you know, and we'd gone from the long, you know, the George Graham days where it was the big punt.
Well,
up.
Pulis.
Moving back a little bit, though, into, there's not so many teams taking that short goal kick anymore.
No.
There's more just
Aye,
getting,
there is, aye.
getting it up.
But
Because the amount of goals conceded by
Direct
losing
play.
in that last, losing
yeah.
with that
Trying
short
to
goal
play
kick.
out.
Yeah.
Chelsea?
Play out.
Chelsea the other night against Leeds.
Yeah, terrible. But I was having a conversation with my son the other day about this, because I remember when I was first starting playing in Division 3, from the kick-off, we used to kick it back to one of the lads and he would just boom it forward to out wide to about 3 or 4 lads running down the line,
Yeah.
looking to win the header. You look at the Premier League teams now, i.e. Arsenal, well, a lot of the teams, that's what they do.
I know.
Yeah.
And the long throws coming
The long
back, and the
throws.
set, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like sort of revolving, it's going round in circles again.
And I think it always will. I think that'll fade away.
And something else will
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
100%. I'm not a lover of mine. You know, off kickoffs when they just boom it out of play into the corner.
So they can get up the field.
I'm
and
not
then,
having that.
yeah,
Like,
playing into touch sort of thing,
it's
aren't you? Yeah.
territory, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is a territory sport. I get that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's just not me. That's not in my DNA. I'd rather go back, try and keep it, play,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm not a manager. I'm not trying to, you know, win 3 points and keep me job and keep me house and,
Pressure.
you know,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into today then. So we've got the big derby coming up, Sunderland-Newcastle. So it's the Wear-Tyne version of this derby. And I've been doing a bit of research and asking, you know, is there a fiercer derby in English football, British football? And the only one that really stands out that comes close is obviously the Old Firm derby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is an intense game, fueled by stuff outside of the game,
Yeah.
right? So when I'm doing my research, I'm thinking Sunderland-Newcastle, it's all about the football, right? Because we haven't got that religious kind of separation that the Old Firm derby has, and that drives a lot of the intensity there. But when I was doing my research, the rivalry between Newcastle and Sunderland goes back way beyond football, to the Civil War, to the English Civil War, when Newcastle supported the Royalists and Sunderland supported Parliament. So they were at each other during the Civil War, and then that's just forward all these years, and they started playing football against each other, and that rivalry then moved into football. So it's fascinating that that level of intensity isn't just about football, because there's loads of other derbies, isn't there?
Yeah.
And they don't have that level of intensity. Any that you can call out, maybe that you think derbies that might be as intense as...
It's not a derby. I mean, the Man United Liverpool one is always a one of the calendar year that everybody looks at, isn't it? It's not a derby, but for me, it's probably
bigger than Man United, Man City, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think from the outside looking in,
two of the biggest teams the biggest 2 teams in English football, you know, and that rivalry has always been there. Even if Man United have been struggling, or even when Liverpool weren't great and Man United were winning Premier League titles, that clash is always the one that people go, wow.
Yeah.
You know, but in terms of derby, I don't think there's any of that come close.
But you know what's interesting? You say it's not a derby, but the Sunderland-Newcastle, some people would argue, isn't a true derby, because it's 2 different cities.
Right.
Glasgow, the one city,
Right, got you.
has
Yeah.
the 2
Yeah.
clubs
Yeah,
from
yeah.
one city.
Yeah,
That's,
absolutely.
that's the derby.
Aye.
The derby here is just geographical area. So it's the northeast of England and 2 cities
It's
next
split
to
by
each
a
other.
river, isn't it?
Split by a river.
Yeah.
And, you know, Manchester, Liverpool, close to each other, northwest, 2 cities, big rivalry. So it is kind of...
Look at the Liverpool Everton, wasn't it, at Park? That split them.
just across, yeah. You
Was it
just walk-
Stanley Park?
Yeah.
So it was literally a grass, you know,
a
like
few
a
minutes walk, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Aye.
That's all it is.
That's there were the two stadiums, Goodison and Anfield, were
So
split by
close.
Stanley
Right.
Park.
Mhm.
But I think what you're saying there, Sonny, about the Sunderland Newcastle, I read something recently about one of the rivalries that was as well, that wasn't formed through football was, or when the football did come round, was the Newcastle people in area were more wealthier than the Sunderland area. So it was like a wealth thing that was, you know, they were fighting over as well.
Yeah, I read that as well. Yeah, that it was Newcastle were like the affluent area.
Yeah.
Sunderland were the working class and the
Yeah,
shipbuilding
yeah.
and all that type of
Right.
stuff as well. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
I mean, as I said in the previous podcast, I don't know whether it applies to any of the derbies, like the Glasgow one, but the Sunderland and Newcastle rivalry, outside of the game, in the workplace, is
Yeah.
horrendous.
Yeah.
As I worked with them for about 14 years, and I've never seen anything like it. It was hatred
Yeah,
between one another.
it is.
They wouldn't work with one another.
It is, yeah.
And if they had to work with one another, they'd work with one another throughout the day, but they wouldn't speak to each other.
Speak, yeah. It'd fall out, aye.
And to me, that's a bridge too far for me. But
What I find interesting is if you went anywhere in the Newcastle area with the Sunderland top on, you probably wouldn't get out alive, and vice versa.
Yeah.
that's
If
right.
you went anywhere in Sunderland with a Newcastle shirt on, yet the villages where I live in South Hetton, you'll see Sunderland on one side of the street walking past a Newcastle shirt on the other.
Yeah.
You know, the little pit villages are just split, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're split between
Yeah.
Sunderland and
Yeah.
Newcastle.
50,
But
yeah.
that's all right. It's okay to support one and the other when it's
Of course
not
it is.
actually within the vicinity of that club, you know.
That city.
You know.
Yeah, and I was reading as well that this rivalry, the Newcastle-Sunderland rivalry, and there'll be others as well, but this one, you don't get split families. So you don't get people in one family
Yeah.
who support that team and that
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
You do hear about that in other ones.
Oh,
I
definitely.
do, yeah.
Maybe even Liverpool, Everton.
True.
Definitely.
Because it's
True.
some of them are Liverpool fans, some of them. You pick a side, and that's it.
You
Your
stick
family
with it.
is that side. You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes when you watch Liverpool Everton, you'll see the fans sitting next to each other. I mean, you would
Yeah.
never see Newcastle Sunderland fans sitting next to each other, would you? Let's be honest.
One of the,
Well, unless it was in hospital.
Well, yeah, true. True.
it's the worst derby, the rivalry.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the form of both sides at the moment. Should we start with Sunderland? Obviously, we'd been talking about the game yesterday, disappointment, but off the back of the Liverpool result within days, I never really. It was I think you said it. So it was a free hit one at the Man City game. If you're getting anything out of it at all, fantastic. But
Well, when
anyone
you
expect it.
when you do your season and all the fixtures come out, and Tommy's probably been there. You as a group of staff, you look and you probably plan. We won 3 points here.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with the draw there.
You'll have a target, won't you?
That one there, you're probably going. We won't get anything to Man City. Not many teams go to the Etihad and get anything.
No.
Well,
It's
that's
a
right.
fortress. Even World Champions League clubs struggle to go there and get anything. It's disappointing to Sunderland fans, of course it is, but if they were looking at that, they'd probably put 0 next to them points
Yeah,
before the
that's
season
right.
started.
Yeah.
So
And beyond that, so earlier than that, how do you think Sunderland have been doing this season, Tom?
Well, been flying, haven't they? Let's be honest. I think the way they're playing, they've got a structure, organisation. Yes, they've fluctuated a little bit between the 5 at the back and the 4 at the back recently, but you can see you've got players there playing for the manager, playing for the club, players who want to be there, and they're all buying into it. We've touched on it before on previous podcasts. Xhaka coming in was a massive signing, and then everyone else has followed. But they're doing brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you just can't wait for the Derby game now, can you?
Yeah,
It's everything's exciting, and hopefully they can get the 3 points.
Have you had a manager like that, Tom, who, like the Briss seems calm, doesn't he?
Mhm.
You never see him getting sort of overly agitated. And he's managed to pull that together there. I think it was like 13 or 14 new players
Mhm.
came in, and a lot of them went straight into the first team with some of last season's team. Have you had managers like who were just fantastic at building that camaraderie and that
Mhm.
togetherness where you thought, I want to be part of this,
Yeah, definitely. And I've had managers that also where you think, I'm not working for you, do you know what I mean? So it works both ways, but he's gone in there, no one knew anything about him or very little about him, and got them promoted, and he's just carried it on with the Premier League, and he's brought in a lot of players, which I think you have to. It's a big jump, but he's, like you can see the players playing for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They to the end, they don't give in, they keep going. I mean, look at the Bournemouth game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of fans from the pundits, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Massive.
I was about to say, if you can't play if you can't play at the top of your game for Sunderland fans, then who can you play for? I mean, they're a fantastic crowd.
And when it's going good, there's no better place.
Yeah,
you know, I've experienced it. And I mean, you have all seen it firsthand. You know, from the stands, the place at the minute's bouncing, absolutely bouncing, and long may it continue.
Yeah.
Over 46,000 for every home game this season, apart from the cup game. Was it Huddersfield or something?
Huddersfield, yeah.
Obviously, there wasn't there. But yeah, over 46. And it looks, sometimes they put the figures up last season and it was saying 42, 43,000. You're looking around going, it doesn't look like that. And a lot of people were saying they just count the
season tickets
and stuff and sold 38,000 or something. So, but this season, it looks full. It's a full house. It takes ages to get away from the ground. Queuing up to get in the ground is way worse than last season. So there's definitely... It's
a better spectacle, the Premier League, isn't it, to watch? Do you know, the game's better, the tempo's better, there's better players on show.
It's the best league in the world, isn't it?
Of course it is, and that's why people, you knew that would happen if they got back in the Premier League for one, but they're doing well, that's even better, But when you talk about form going into the Derby, they're coming off a 3-0 loss, but what is form? How many games do you go back for form? Now, Newcastle haven't been great.
Away from home, struggled. I know they beat Everton, obviously away last.
But I watched that game, and even when Newcastle were 1-2-0 up, it was all Everton.
Yeah, they still had chances, Everton. Yeah.
And then yesterday they're playing against Burnley at home. Burnley are down to 10 men, and they only win the game 2-1. They conceded late goals. The thing is with Newcastle, and obviously I work with a lot of Newcastle fans who go to every game, and they say that Newcastle. The first 20 minutes is when Newcastle are at their best, when the crowd are behind them. If Newcastle don't score in that 20 minutes, they worry. They really worry. Like, the game settles down, the other team seem to come into it, the crowd go a little bit quiet. So on Sunday, I think it is huge for Sunderland to weather that storm. It will be a storm in the first 20 minutes. I've guarantee you that now. It will be a storm. I've seen them that start like a house on fire.
Yeah.
But if you can weather it, and you can get back in the game, then
that's right.
Do you think form plays that much of a part in a game like this?
I don't.
No,
not when I've looked at previous derbies. Definitely
irrelevant.
Not. Definitely not.
No, it's a one-off, isn't it? Forgetting all the other results, this is a one-off, isn't it?
There was one,
home and away, but the game is a one-off in itself.
Yeah.
It's like a cup game, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's like a cup game. Sunderland won one derby at St James's, and that was their only win all season.
Yeah.
In one of the years, I think maybe in 2013, something like that, had a little look. You telling me you go into that game as form, you're not winning that game.
No.
But they won it, and it was the only game they won all season.
Yeah.
So I don't think form matters really.
So when you look at both squads, right? If we're going to leave form, they're both doing, one's on 22, Newcastle at 22 points, Sunderland at 23. So there's nothing between them at all, really. Just a few places in the table, but one point. So when you look at players, so a lot of these games come down to a player in a moment, don't they? Who do you see being the key players for both sides who maybe can give that moment and win the game for the team?
Well, I mean, my first thought obviously is Xhaka, the captain, because he's played in massive games before. This will not faze him, certainly not. And he controls the midfield, he controls the tempo of the game. So I'm sure he'll dictate the play. He'll want to get on top of that. And then obviously you look at Newcastle and you've got Bruno Guimaraes, who's flying at the minute, scoring goals as well. So I think that's a key battle in the middle of the park, certainly. And then you look at players who can maybe win games for you. And you've got Lafay, who I think can turn it on at any given day. He's special, he's capable of a free kick or something spectacular from the edge of the box. He's got that bit extra, that sort of, that little bit of spice, as you say. But Newcastle have theirs as well, so it's going to be interesting to see who turns up and who sort of really wants it on the day.
There's battles all over the pitch.
There's battles all over the pitch, yeah. I mean
the full-back situation.
Yeah.
But the Newcastle's two good full-backs, so is Sunderland.
Yeah.
Then, as you said earlier, they've got the midfield battle with Lafay, Siddiqui, Xhaka against Bruno and Joe Linton, etc.
And whoever, Tonali, if he's in
there. If he's
he
seems to be okay, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So that's a great battle in midfield.
And then it's Waldemar v Ballard. You've got all sorts of different battles all over the field.
Robbie versus the two centre-backs. If you start or Isidore. I'm not so sure who we'll go with me. Robbie's the physical.
He's got the pace, hasn't he? You know what I mean? So
He seems to.
Interesting.
Were we talking about before where there's this new term coming into football called finishers? And it's
Yes.
someone said I read that it was a rugby thing.
It is. It's the bomb squad.
Well, apparently it's netball
Is it?
before.
Right.
that,
Is it
apparently.
really?
But they
Right,
put
interesting.
finishers on, and then
Right.
rugby have adopted it, and then football. And Lebris seems to have the two strikers. So Meander doesn't seem to get a
no,
No, he
he
doesn't.
No, he's
So he's got Isidore, who is up there, and he runs all day.
Yeah.
And he's an athlete, and he's quick. And he's got Brobby, who is just like a beast.
Battering
And
Tank, isn't he?
the goal
Yeah.
for Bournemouth, the defenders actually got both hands on him, trying to shove him out the way, and he just stands
Lewis, it was
there,
Lewis Cook,
jumps
wasn't
up a
it?
little bit and,
Yeah.
and nods it in.
Well,
He's
he give Canate a tough time.
he really
Yeah,
Do you know
did.
what I mean? So you had to
absolutely.
keep dragging him and fouling him. He's a handful, him.
Oh, he's
So he's got the
big lad.
Briss seems to have that option of does he start and stretch them with
Yeah.
Isidore and then bring Brobby on,
Yeah.
or does he start with Brobby
And hopefully the game opens up.
and
Yeah.
and build into the game,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you say, Stu, and then bring Isidore on, you know, like he did against
Liverpool.
Liverpool. We had that chance right at the end, didn't we? So I think and he's got that thing. I think he's got the finishes. He does it with the wingers as well, doesn't he? With Talby and
Traore.
he seems to start with one way, but you know it's going to change at a certain point. But not like Man United. Man United seems chaos when he does it
Yeah.
at Man United. It just seems chaos. They were playing against 10-man Everton, and he made defensive.
He does it.
every week. You just can't understand that, can
No.
you?
It was-
His stubbornness is going to cost him his job,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
At some point, it is.
Yeah.
It kind of continue, kind of.
Yeah.
So Lebris seems to have it right with the way he does that finishing thing,
Mhm.
which is really good. So we've looked at maybe some key players and some key battles there. And I think they're, like you said, they're all over the pitch, aren't they? If you had to signal, one player from each side who, if they're on top and they make the difference, that side wins. Tom, you think Xhaka for Sunderland?
Yeah, I think so. And Lafay, like I just said, but
Yeah.
sometimes games like this, it's sometimes someone who you least expect who comes out with a winner. A defender might get a goal or a fullback, something like that. So anything could happen.
Yeah.
But looking now, that would be my view on it. I think Xhaka's played in massive games. This will not faze him in the slightest.
Yeah.
And I think Lafay, like I said, just touched on, I think he's capable of the spectacular. He's got that bit of magic.
I think Sunderland have to be very wary of Anthony Gordon.
Yeah,
His pace
Yeah.
is
Very
frightening,
Direct,
by the way.
yeah.
And Trey Hume, we know what he's about. That they will. I don't know how they'll manage it, but
well, they need to double bank him in a lot of
Yeah.
situations.
he
won't
will beat anybody in a 1v1.
Well, the way
if he
Hume goes into tackles as well,
That's
he
what I
has to be
mean.
careful, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Because he's a red card waiting to happen.
course he
And
is, yeah.
you just hope he's not that extra sort of built up for that game, which I don't think he will, because like I said, he plays the same week in, week out, no matter who he's against. But if Gordon just gets that half a yard and gets past him and Hume slides in, then obviously it's going to be
He's
trouble.
hitty missy Gordon. The Newcastle fans are like, some weeks he's scarily good, and other weeks he's like, get him off.
But he's good at drawing the foul as well.
He
Like
He is.
And when he's on it, he's frightening. So he'd be the one for me that would be the game changer for Newcastle.
Aye.
Yeah.
Well, the last time they met in the cup when Newcastle won 3-0 at the Stadium of Light, it was a bad time for Sunderland. That bad time to be a Sunderland fan. It was the Michael Beale period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was rumours they were going to turn the Black Cats bar black and white. Do you
That's
remember all
right.
that?
Well, I think they did.
Right,
Did
yeah,
they?
they
Yeah,
I think
did.
they did, and then it got
Had to
changed
go
at the
back.
last minute because there was uproar. Don't know what they were thinking of, Sunderland.
It was a horrendous time to be a sort of Sunderland fan at that point there. And then the game was awful. We sat back,
Mhm.
and Gordon played in that game against Hume, and it was like, but I don't actually think he'll play right back in the
Do you not?
derby. I think Mutieli will.
Right.
I think because of everything you've said there around potentially diving in, how quick Gordon is, I think you play Mutieli out there.
Right.
And then I think Ballard, Alderete, Reinildo, and potentially Gertrude
Right.
in there.
So you don't think Hume will
I
play?
don't think Hume will play.
Just because the emotion of the derby and
The
how.
emotion.
what
if,
it's
you,
like.
if you go 10 men, it's done.
Aye.
It's done.
Yeah.
And if your emotions are heightened anyway, and you're jumping into a tackle against a lad who's lightning,
Mm-hmm.
could be
Yeah.
over. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I think
It's a good point.
I think that's
Yeah.
how he'll
Well, I think Newcastle will be looking at Gordon to think, right, we can get you down to 10. You know, if you just
Absolutely.
play him, you know, because he draws the foul.
Of course
He
he
knows
does.
what he's doing.
He's
like,
clever.
so
He's clever at what he does. Yeah.
he is.
The odd million.
So much pace, but his end product and his quality on the ball has been very up and down. Considering what he was at Forest, you know,
I
he
said
was
to you, didn't I, before the
come
season
from Man
started?
United, didn't he?
He
before
suited
that.
Nottingham Forest because they were a sit-in team and they were
Catch.
like the Red Arrows,
Yeah.
just win it and break. That was their game.
Yeah.
So his game it wasn't keeping the ball and,
Ball carrier, get you up the pitch.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
That was their game.
Yeah.
And
we called it out, Stu, as you say the other from the
100%.
podcast at the beginning. He definitely wasn't a 50-odd million pound
Oh, no.
player. It almost got to the point where signings became desperation for Newcastle.
Yeah, they did.
They were getting knocked
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Players were choosing Man United over them, which I think was a bit painful considering how bad Man United were the season
Yeah.
before.
Mhm.
You know, and Mbumo
Cunha.
and Cunha
Yeah.
had chosen other sides.
Sesko as well.
Sesko,
Yeah, he was due to go to Newcastle,
was.
wasn't he?
So and then the Isak thing obviously kicked off.
Yeah.
So they were not only they couldn't sign players, they were struggling to sign
People
players.
wanted
They
to
were
leave.
losing players. Yeah. So it felt like a bit of a desperation signing the Elanga thing, I think. And we said we'd seen him at Man United, and he was all right.
He was an impact player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd seen him at Forest, and we'd said the way he played at Forest was a way that suited him, and he just didn't think he was going to. It hasn't worked for him. And I mean,
No.
it might, he's obviously got a lot of talent, the lad,
Yeah.
and it might work out for him, but right now, it isn't. If you were to go through the Newcastle team, do you think they'll set up? How do you think they'll set up? Do you think they'll set up 4-3-3? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the three midfielders will be Joe Linton, Gamares, and Tonali.
Yeah.
I think
two centre backs, Burn and the German
Chow, Malik
Chow,
Chow.
Yeah. He was done very well by them.
Yeah,
Lewis Hall will probably stay left back, and Livramento will probably stay
Mm.
right back. That's what and then I think
Yeah.
it'll be Walter Marder, Gordon, and then it'll
Murphy,
either be
possibly.
Murphy or Elanga.
Do you not think there's any chance of them playing Wissa alongside Walter Marder? Or are they too similar? Or
Is he fit now?
I don't know
Is
if he's fit. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
they'll put him
Yesterday?
straight
Fair
in.
enough.
I think he came on.
came on?
Did
Yeah,
he come on
Came
yesterday?
on.
Did he? Right.
Yeah.
I not.
'Cause he's-
I don't think he'll
Might
start.
not risk him in
No,
a
no.
game like that, might you?
but if he was fit, he'd be a threat.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah, he's
Definitely.
off to the. Is he going to the AFCON as well? He is, isn't
I think
Yeah,
he is, yeah.
he?
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what's interesting about that. The Sunderland, well, all the players should be gone. So you're supposed to turn up for the AFCON 2 weeks prior, and it starts on the 21st.
Right,
So they were meant to be gone,
right.
and FIFA made a ruling that they could stay at the clubs until the 15th. So Sunderland have been very, very
Wow.
lucky.
The day after, the game.
The day
I
after
wonder
they've
why
all
they've
got
done
the ship
that.
off to the
I
AFCON.
wonder why they've done that.
Otherwise, that would have been a completely different derby. We'd be
Yeah.
talking about a different
So
game.
out of the Sunderland current 11 or squad, who's going to that? Who they're going to lose?
So if you go across the back there, it's Reinildo. Is it Reinildo?
I don't
Yeah.
know what that-
Right,
Well,
I
Sid-
don't know
I'll
how
tell
we
you,
pronounce
no,
him, yeah.
Siddiqui,
Yeah,
Deacon's gone, yeah.
Talby,
Talby's gone.
Traore,
Yeah.
right.
he
Yeah,
goes, Diarra, who I know we haven't seen much of, but
Injured, yeah.
he's
but
good though.
He's coming
He is
back.
good.
There's seven.
There's seven,
There's
yeah.
7, isn't there? I
seven,
can't
yeah.
remember a
Seven,
couple of them, yeah.
yeah.
7.
And actually, apart from Diarra, who we haven't seen, the rest have been first team players. So it's not like it's 7 from the squad, if
Well,
you like.
Siddiqui's the big one for me.
Oh, he's been. I mean,
yeah, he's running, isn't he?
unbelievable.
Energy is scary,
Yeah,
Aye.
and his pace,
yeah.
the way he closes down and recovers, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's Sunderland play with that intensity. Need to, don't they?
Mhm.
They need to play like that. They need to go and try and get the ball back. And what he seems to have done, Lebris, and this is just my opinion, he seems to have went to the market and said, right, I need physical, high intensity players
Yeah.
to suit my system.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't just go and try and find superstars who might be willing to come to the club.
Yeah.
No, he went and picked players who fit in exactly to what he's trying to achieve. Big, strong defenders. Alderete, he already had Ballard, Mukiele, Gertruda.
Yeah.
Big, strong defenders. Hard to lose very, very few headers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those lot there. He goes and gets real experience in the left back, who's been unbelievable.
Top draw, yeah.
In Reinildo. And then in midfield, he goes and gets someone called him the conductor the other day, Granit Xhaka. They said if you watch him,
he's
he isn't just
unbelievable.
playing the game,
Oh,
he's telling
he's-
everyone where to be. Even when the game's...
He's the manager on the pitch, isn't he?
Aye.
Yeah.
Which So we went and got him for the experience in game management, because they were an inexperienced side. And even the players he brought in were fairly inexperienced. Siddiqui, loads of legs. Traore, loads of legs. Talby,
got legs.
Champions League experience.
Champions League experience. Like real high intensity. We all thought Isidore might be a better Premier League player than Championship player, because the way those two leagues are different. And the physicality of being a centre forward in the Championship's different in the Premier League. So he's been a better player. He's an athlete. He physically stretches sides, doesn't he? So I think the Brits had a plan and didn't just try and buy players. He bought players that fit in plan.
Yeah. I mean, again, at clubs you don't know how that will work. Sometimes it's the recruitment team who do all the signings. Yeah. Sometimes it's the managers. If it has been Regis Labrie who sat down with him and said, I want this, and he has the final say of yes, he is top draw. Yeah. If it's the recruitment team, massive pat on the back. Yeah. Because that's the best bit of recruitment I've seen in a long time, what they have done and the money that they spend.
Yeah.
How's that work in a club then? So it used to be the manager, didn't it? The manager sort of picked the players they wanted and all that type of stuff. And then they went to this...
And then sporting director.
And then they look at data, don't they, and stuff like that. And stats. Certain clubs look at data, don't they?
Massive.
Brentford are massive on it.
Do they?
Yeah, massive stats just and all
data,
that sort of stuff.
Nothing else. So Brentford's model would be, if you were one of the data analysts, it would be, right, I want whatever you want in terms of the GPS data. I want you to whittle it down to 3 and give us the video footage. Yeah. And then the manager will go, right, well, let's go and get him. It's mad. Yeah, it's mad all data.
Sorry, gone are the days when the manager went along and watched the guy for himself.
That's what I mean. It's totally changed, hasn't it? And you've got directors of football making decisions for the manager. Really, do you know, like, he might say to him, listen, certain clubs are different, but he might say there's the choice of 3 there, and the manager obviously has the final say, but sometimes the director of football or the people behind the scenes are bringing these players in, and you're sort of, they come in and then you're coaching them to fit in how you play.
Hence the title of head coach.
Head coach,
rather than manager.
Absolutely. Yeah, whereas the manager used to do everything, didn't he? Years gone by. Yeah. Now the director of football is a big say.
That's why Fergie was a one-off, wasn't he?
Of course he was.
He made every single decision in that football club. Simple as that, every single decision. Who came in, who went out, and that's probably why he had the success, because he wasn't relying on anybody else.
Oh, he was. You know,
if I'm a manager of a football club and you're the sporting director and you're the one who's bringing, I'm relying on you.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? My job is relying on what you're doing.
But is it fed by the manager? Like you said, potentially in the Sunderland case, has Labrie said, "This is how I want to play. This is my vision, you know, of how I want this club to play," and he kind of hands that over to the recruitment director, who then goes Moneyball and gets all the stats and gets some players that will suit that vision or not. Or...
Hopefully, I think some managers in the past have been dealt the cards of, these are your players.
Well, I'm going to exactly say something like that. Tony Mowbray, when he was at Sunderland, was told which players were coming in, rather than him tell which players he wanted.
That's right.
So that's definite. So I know that for certain. You know, a lot of these French lads were coming over, and they were coming into the club obviously because of the owners and stuff like that, and people behind the scenes, and he was just having to fit them into his team or to coach them how they want to play. Certainly the younger ones. So whether it's changed now, I don't know, with Reggie Labrie, and maybe he's getting more of a say of certain players coming in, which you'd like to think so. But yeah, that was certainly the case when Tony was in charge.
I'd heard that, Tom. Yeah. Definitely.
About Mowbray.
Yeah.
It's happened before that at Sunderland. It happened under Dick Advocaat. It happened with Di Canio. There was that agent at the time at Sunderland who was just bringing in the Italian guy. What was Defanti? Roberto Defanti.
Right, okay.
He was like the sporting director, but he was a half an agent, and he was just wheeling players in through the door. Can you remember the kid who Sunderland had who didn't play a game, but if he played a certain amount of minutes, they were going to owe 8 million? Do you not remember him? No. The Argentinian. We'll have to find his name, and they ended up having to pay 8 million, and he barely played for Sunderland. Now that was done and dusted behind the scenes of an agent.
That's a lot of envelopes passing forward.
And I worked at the club at that time, and the amount of players that were coming in who were nowhere near good enough, but it was agents bringing them in through the door through Roberto Defanti. You know, like you said, Dick Advocaat lost his job through it. Di Canio lost his job through it. I think if you're a manager, I think you've got to go in and suss that out before you take the job. Now, don't get me wrong, someone will say, I don't care if I'm getting 3 million a year and I get the set after 2 years, that's
exactly
not a problem.
What's going on.
How do you think it's working at Newcastle and with Eddie Howe? Do you think it's the same? Do you think it's all behind the scenes and Eddie's dealing?
His brother works.
His brother was in there, yeah, and I think they've had a lot of change as well, behind the scenes with director of football and sport and directors and stuff like that.
I think Eddie Howe was a big say though. I think he has a massive part of that club of who comes in and who doesn't. But one thing I will say, I was speaking to a Newcastle fan the other day, and he said if you look at his recruitment, he paid. There was a lad at Bournemouth. He paid 30 or 40 million for Jordan Ibe from Liverpool at Bournemouth, and he was a failure.
Right.
Now, if you look at, he brings in a lot of ex-English players who've played in the Premier League who cost money, but he wants to. I think he wants the English Premier League proven rather than the ones from abroad.
Yeah.
But I think he does have a lot to say at Newcastle. Him and I think his brothers are on the recruitment team.
That
as well.
Ibe's playing non-league.
No.
Yeah.
Cost 30 million from
What a drop, eh?
from Liverpool. 30 million.
I tell you what, I did read pre-season when the transfers were all happening was, I think you just said, Tom, there'd been a load of change and they'd sacked the sporting director and all this type of stuff. So there was no one to actually go and negotiate these deals. So Eddie Howe and his brother were actually going and trying to negotiate these deals with people who that's their job. Their job is to negotiate contracts and stuff. Not Eddie Howe's, and I think his brother had mainly done recruitment in youth terms and not top
Not
stars.
the big, yeah.
And I think that's maybe was one of the causes of this whole where they struggled to get players in. And
I mean, they've made some good signings, haven't they? Malik Chowlux was always
he's
just
top.
good.
I like him.
Livermento's been absolutely superb.
Yeah.
Walter
Marner.
Marner, he's a good.
No, I like him.
I do.
I like him.
I know he's a big lad. He's got a lovely touch.
Got a
He just
great
needs to
touch.
fill out a bit.
Yeah.
He's very lean and gangly and he gets pushed off the ball a little bit. But when you look at a striker in terms of when you would look at him in that size, you would think all he would be is like a target man to flick on. But he's
A lot more.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Have you seen him when he does them little cribs?
Yeah,
when it gets played into him and he sees a runner and he just cribs
He's clever.
He's brilliant
He's
at
clever as well.
it. He splits the Newcastle fans,
does he?
There's there's a lot of lads at work are like, nah, not having it.
Right.
I
thought they were loving him.
They think he's like a weak, gets pushed off the ball too easy.
Interesting.
And he's the club's record signing, isn't he?
I think so. Aye.
Yeah.
He was in the German national team at 20-year-old. He was under 21 like mainstay, and then they put him in then he played the full national team at 20-year-old.
I thought you were going to say the old cliche there that he had good feet for a big man.
That's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say. Sorry to all them 6'6" plus people.
So Sunderland, we've talked about Sunderland, we've talked about the side, and we got into there that you think Newcastle will play 4-3-3.
Yeah.
And we talked about what that might look like. What about Sunderland then from a setup perspective? So when we've seen them this season, they've set up as a 5 at the back against the better sides, and then 4 at the back when they think they've got a chance of going and getting something. What do you think of this?
I think Sunderland 100% will play 4 at the back. And the only reason I say that, Reggie Labrie will know how Newcastle set up, 4-3-3 more or less, week in, week out. So you've got your 2 wide lads for Newcastle and 1 down the middle now. If you've got 3 centre-halves, Mark, and 1 centre-forward, then there's no point in playing, do you know what I mean? So
They're going to outnumber you elsewhere.
They're going to outnumber you elsewhere, exactly. So I think the 4 at the back, obviously your 2 full-backs deal with the wide lads and your 2 centre-halves deal with the centre-forward. And then I think they'll go with the 3 in midfield or whatever.
I think they'll match up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm not interested. I don't think...
Or they might play number 10 just behind the forward. They might play someone behind Isidore or Brobby, whoever they go with. But I'm certain they'll play 4 at the back.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does like a little bit of an in-game.
Yeah. And
starts with a 5 for the first 20-25 minutes to
Right.
weather them
Keep it
corners and stuff
Possibly.
like that. And then in play, when they've weathered the storm's weathered, he might change it slightly to say, right, now we've got a little bit of the ball in play, because some managers do that. Out of possession's one shape, in possession's the other.
Well, that's interesting about Sunderland and Man United, actually, although it isn't working for Man United, is when they play 5 at the back, what I've been hearing from the pundits is one of those 5 is meant to step into midfield.
Hume was doing it against Liverpool a lot.
Right.
And then you had Mukalele pushing over to the right-hand side to be a right back. So, it changes as the game's going.
The game's going, aye.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he might, I guess they could look at something like that, because it seems like that works. It doesn't work for Man United, and it did one game. Shaw was the one who was stepping in and making that extra man in midfield, so they didn't get outnumbered in midfield. And then when they were defending, he would sit back into his...
Well, Martinez is probably that piece of the puzzle, isn't he?
Could
because
be.
he's good on the ball. You know, he's comfortable. He can split passes. If he's the one that steps in mid, he's played CDM before in his career at Ajax.
Yeah.
So if he's the one that can step in, I know we're going off track, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think he could be that little bit of puzzle if that's what he wants to carry on doing.
Yeah. And Hume was the one doing it. And I think Hume's progressed a lot since last season. I think he's a much
Definitely.
better player, and certainly is at Premier League level.
Mhm.
Although yesterday he got exposed a bit by the quality of City, which is understandable, like, isn't it? You know, just coming
They can expose anyone, can't they, on the day? Yeah.
I went to watch them live against Dortmund in the Champions League, and obviously Dortmund are a huge club, Champions League year after year.
Mhm.
Honestly, Dortmund look like a Sunday morning reserve team, and that's what they can do to you when they're on it.
when they're
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
How difficult will it be in a red-hot derby like it is? How difficult will it be to stick to the plan of containment for the first 20, 25 minutes?
That's what I mean. And with Sunderland being the home team,
That's
you'd like
right.
to think they're not going to sit in and let Newcastle have the ball and let them come at them.
Yeah.
You'd like to think Sunderland will get after them early. I would say,
I personally believe they will.
yeah, I think they will as well. But I mean, just touching on what Stewie's saying about Newcastle start games really quick. You know, the first 20 minutes they want to. I think Sunderland's got to do the flip side of it and go
absolutely.
at them and
Absolutely.
see how Newcastle deal with it. Sunderland's the home team. You know what the atmosphere is going to be like.
Fantastic.
It's going to be bouncing. The fans are going to be all over it from the start, and they'll want Sunderland to have a quick start and get after
that
them.
was my point, Tom.
Because
How
if they
difficult it would
don't-
be to keep you,
Yeah,
to the plan.
yeah.
I think that goes out the window.
Goes out the window. Yeah,
I think it'll just be
I think he'll set them up, and I'd like to think they'll go after them straight away. From
yeah.
rather than sit back and let. Because you know what it's like. Newcastle get on top early on. The Sunderland fans start to sort of. There's a few murmurs, and it gets a bit flat. And if Newcastle were to score early on, it's obviously a bit of a mountain to climb for Sunderland, even though they've proven that they can come back this season. But you'd like to think Sunderland's going to go after them from the start. Why not?
I think they will.
I think Newcastle's got frailties in the back, certainly with a few injuries.
Yeah.
And the way Sunderland have played this season, they can score goals, they can hurt teams. So why not?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think they will, because you cannot, let's say for 20, 25 minutes of the first half, you've got the crowd behind you. What's the crowd going to think? What's going on here?
Exactly.
I'm trying to contain them. Why aren't we?
Absolutely.
I think that's gone. I think they'll go for it from the off.
I agree.
Well, we're 2-2 here then.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
It will be
It
interesting.
will be interesting, but I agree with Stu. I think he'll set up knowing the way Newcastle play and wanting to just stay in the game for the first 20 minutes, half hour, and then be a little bit more expansive. And I think you're about the plan goes out the window. I think the one thing Sunderland have got this season is discipline. And
Yeah.
I think executing the game plan, they've been really good.
Yeah.
If you
possibly.
watch Sunderland this season and look at the goals they've conceded, a lot of them have been mistakes, as opposed to somebody genuinely breaking
Opening them up.
down.
But I agree.
Even against Liverpool, it was Talby or Olafay that controlled the ball and it bounced off them and went into Verts. And that's happened a lot this season against Bournemouth. Bournemouth's first goal, Mughali slips over and goes down.
Yeah.
And Semenyo was in. I think the second goal was definitely a mistake as well against Bournemouth. So if Sunderland can stop those mistakes, build into the game, stay in the game for the first 20, build into the game, and then be a bit more expensive. That's my
Yeah.
that's how I think
yeah.
they'll play, because I've seen them be that disciplined.
I just think Newcastle as well this season. I mean, obviously the Everton game's different, which was the last away game for them. They've been so fragile away from home,
Right.
mentally. I mean, like I say, they might have picked up a little bit because they beat Everton away from home, but prior to that, they've been terrible away from home.
Yeah.
Well, I said it at the start of the season. Well, I've said it for years, actually, to the Newcastle fans who I work with. Newcastle are only good when they've got 55,000 screaming Geordies behind them. When they haven't got them, they're nowhere near as good. And that's proven, isn't it, on their away record. Anyone would be. That is a fortress up there, at 55,000 fans at St James's.
We shall see. We shall
Exactly.
see, and that's the fascination of the game, isn't it?
Absolutely. Anything could happen.
Absolutely.
There could be a sending off after 2 minutes. There could be a goal after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And everything changes.
Yeah.
Do you know that they've limited the fans? They've both
Have they?
agreed that at each stadium, when the derby's on, they're only releasing 2,500 away tickets.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Because it's a Cat 1 game, isn't it? Like, the policing of it goes down to categories.
Yeah.
Some games are Cat 1, Cat 2,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's a Cat 1 fixture. So that's why it gets moved to, the kick-off time gets moved and all that type of stuff, to try to stop people getting out on the lash and then get into the game. It doesn't happen like, because the last game we were at, one of the lads said, "Are we all going to obviously go to Derby?" Like, "Well, aye." And it was like, "Right, should we meet for breakfast?"
I know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Years ago,
Yeah.
the pubs didn't open, so if it was an early kick-off, there wasn't much chance of getting on the drink, was there?
No.
But now, I mean, you can just go into a Witherspoons at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you can
That's
get
what
a
they're
drink.
doing. All I've been to a Derby before and went to Peterlee Wetherspoons before the game for a breakfast and a pint, and there was loads of Sunderland fans in there as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there was,
I don't think you'll ever stop them like not drinking early, will you?
No.
No,
Right, because it's the excitement and making a day of it. And
it is. Some people, it goes to the head and they spoil themselves. but
Yeah.
yeah.
The vast majority just enjoy it and get on with it.
So I think the 2,500 fans, it limits the ability for trouble, doesn't it? Because obviously the police, there's a net around the ground. They close roads.
Yeah.
At a certain point you kind of get into, on certain games, they close the roads, you kind of get in. So it's not like people can get in and get at the ground and monitor the rail network, don't they, and see who's coming in on the rail.
Yeah.
So they're always very well policed.
Yeah.
But I actually think this is the last time. Well, I'll ask the question: when was the last league derby?
It was a 1-1 draw, and it sent both of them down in 2016, where both got relegated. Sure, that's when it was. That was the last.
That was the last. It was 2016.
Yeah.
Was the last derby, and then obviously 24 was that cup
game.
game, which was horrendous. That was a Ballard own goal.
You know that Newcastle are now supposedly the richest club in the world, and they're in Champions League. It's hard to envisage them ever being relegated, isn't it? When you think about it, they were a Championship club, but they were.
Yeah. Well, look at Man City.
Yeah.
Man City for a long time were a lower
Second division
club, and they were nowhere near.
No.
They were nowhere near. And I did hear recently some fans saying that they want to go back to the Paul Dickov days and those type of players, because the club had more identity.
I've been to a few Man City games, and listen, I think they're a fantastic team. Pep's unbelievable.
Yeah.
They've got some quality players, but it's dead at the ground.
Is it?
Wow.
Yeah, I've been as well. Yeah.
I've been to the Champions League games that I've been to. The actual opposition just completely outsing them and everything.
Yeah.
There's no. But if you think about the Manchester itself, I'd love to know how many percent of Manchester people support Man United compared to Man City. It's got to be 70-30, 80-20. It has to be.
It'll be high.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
I would. That'll be something interesting to find out.
Have a look at that, because they're a bit of a niche club, City, weren't they? When you think about the way the two clubs developed, to be a City fan meant you were following a lower league side.
Yeah.
So when you're grown up in Manchester, you'd follow the side that were in the top division, wouldn't you? Unless what I've said earlier, your family were kind of City fans and that,
Yeah.
So that probably fed into that, the fact that for a long decades and decades, City weren't a challenging
No,
side.
definitely not. No. Man United's always been the one team in Manchester. Going back through the Munich air disaster, a lot of people got on the back of that, and I'm not saying it was the sympathy vote, but they started supporting them after that.
Yeah.
We got the Matt Busby era, George Bez, Dennis Lowe, Bobby Charlton.
The players that
and from
produced
there,
then, isn't it?
oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Did you know that? I think it might be the only time as well that is it three Ballon d'Or players in the same side, in the same 11?
Was it?
And that was
Dennis
Charlton, Law, and Best.
Yeah.
So they won it year after year.
And can you imagine them three played in the same team?
That is frightening.
Special.
That is
great,
unbelievable. So 3 Ballon d'Ors when it all played in the same name, it's unheard of, isn't it?
Yeah. And you probably never.
Never.
Actually, the Ballon d'Ors dropped right off for me. Like,
Well.
it was Dembele or something, the last one I got it. And I'm like,
it's becoming a red carpet job now, isn't it? I'm on the red carpet. Look at me,
It's not.
It's not for me.
It's lost its sparkle a bit.
It has, because it was like, I don't think there's a standout player anymore. Do you know there was like Messi and Ronaldo, and they were, they're exceptional. Talk about them being potentially the greatest of all time. People have their own opinions on that. And now that they're not winning anymore, it feels like a bit of an open market. And really, who is that
that's
standout
where I
player?
think the forward players are going out the game a bit. There's Harry Kane. Harry Kane currently, isn't there? But he's getting on a bit. Apart from him, there's the world number 9s that are going short.
And players are not having the longevity. So if you look how long Messi and Ronaldo stayed in the game at the top, you got the likes of Neymar who just frittered it away.
Go back to Brazil at 30 years old.
And Mbappe, it just hasn't took off, has it? He should, Mbappe
Yeah, he should be ripping it up, shouldn't he?
everyone with that talent.
I know.
And it just isn't.
And speed.
It isn't happening.
No.
And there's nobody like really stepping up to be the greatest in the modern era, is there?
Have they got the appetite for it, some of them?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Absolute great point.
Money spoils
spoils a lot
That's
of things.
right,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
but look at Ronaldo. He's got the most money in the world, hasn't he? And he's still doing it. Still wants to
And
do it.
still in
you know what I
superb
mean?
shape,
Oh,
isn't he?
exactly. He looked after
His
himself. And,
motivations are different, aren't they?
exactly. Yeah.
And you
I
look
mean,
at it, is it Yamal?
oh,
Yeah.
Lamine Yamal?
talent. Yeah.
Talent is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
He's
yeah.
probably the one at the
It's off
moment.
the
Yeah.
field stuff, though. They reckon he's all over the place. off the
Drinker,
field.
innit? Reckon he's a drinker and a party, ain't
Did
he?
you?
Aye. Aye.
So whereas Ronaldo and them, they had that mentality. You talked about in your interview, Tom, about that mentality. They had that, didn't they? And I'm not sure, like you've said, whether the modern era, the likes of Yamal and people like that, have got that mentality where I'm going to get to the top and I'm staying there for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, get to the top, make a few quid. If he never played another game, Yamal, he'd never have to work a day in his life, would he?
That's right.
Made for
No.
life. Made for life
No.
already, isn't he? Yeah.
But that's where I think the money side of it, like, it ruins it. These youngsters now are getting signed by Cat 1 clubs. They're getting built-in pros. And they'll probably, after they finish the 2-year pro, they've probably got enough money, you know, never to work again.
Yeah.
But they'll not play footy either because they've probably, that drive's gone.
Hunger.
Hunger.
They could all take a leaf out of James Milner's book. I mean, he's been fantastic, hasn't he? He's played at the top. He's still playing and still got appetite for the game.
Welbeck?
Yeah,
Well,
Danny
Danny
Welbeck.
Welbeck,
Yeah.
yeah,
34
absolutely.
something he is, and he's
Yeah,
on fire.
absolutely.
Talking about does he deserve a call up back into the England side?
Well,
Oh, yeah,
well,
he's been
sister.
mentioned, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is the past kid?
Exactly.
He's a handful.
He is.
He's quick, he's strong,
He
he
is.
scores goals.
Scores goals, yeah.
Aye. I mean, I don't know whether Tuchel will ever go back down that route, but that would be interesting to see. I mean, I'm looking forward to the World Cup. I think there's too many teams in it.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Some of them teams, like, I know everyone deserves a shot, and some of these players previously would never have get into a World Cup, but it looks, there's too many teams. It's the World Cup.
I don't know if you saw the draw the other night, but that was a farce as well. That went on forever, the draw. Do you know what I mean? It was supposed to come on earlier, and you've got everyone singing, you know, it went on
Typical-
for hours, and it was like,
Typical America.
Rio Ferdinand was on there.
Have you seen the clip where somebody says something and he
Someone's
bites?
put a complaint about it, mustn't they? There was something happened, yeah.
Who
Have you
bites
not
first?
seen it? Aye?
Yeah.
So is it somebody called Danny Ramirez?
Something like that,
Asked
yeah.
a question about, and Ronaldo's on the stage and he bites. He goes, I played centre half, man, and it was just a tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
And he bit, and anyway, apparently he goes, right, moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
In the comments are like, he shouldn't be a pundit. He can't take sarcasm. Blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
yeah.
I think he's a good pundit, personally.
You know?
Nah, I don't.
He's making a good living out of the off the field stuff, though. He's got his own podcasts and all that type of
Aye.
stuff, hasn't he? And obviously his reach into the game, he's mates with some of the biggest
Oh, absolutely.
stars that have been around.
course,
Like.
And not just football. I think he's pop star. You know, all sorts of life. Yeah,
Watched him on the
absolutely.
overlap with Neville and Carragher, and it was about his time in Man United. That was a good. He spoke well, and that was a good listen. You know, just to delve into how it was for him,
Mhm.
and that was
I
quite.
don't think he's got a particularly good personality, though.
No.
Mm.
That's just a humble opinion.
Aye, you'd probably have that same cap that's behind you.
Aye.
Um,
Didn't they used to call you Penfold or something?
Aye,
Did they?
Aye.
off
Danger
Mouse.
aye.
I thought that was a kid because I'm sure at some point he reached out to you on social media or something. I can't remember what had happened.
It was. I think we were one of the times we were away. Were Hartlepool to Magaluf, and him, Jody Morris, and Frank Lampard came into that club.
There,
And all of these were like, I was like talking to them, and these were like,
I remember
like,
that.
how do you know them? How are you talking to them?
I remember. that.
Because obviously, I'd obviously been with Jody and Rio with England.
Yeah.
And we mates,
Yeah,
I was real
English
mates.
or- weren't you?
So
Yeah.
when I'd gone to Hartlepool, I was still only 19. I'd only been left the under 18 setup 7-8 months.
Mm.
So obviously we were on an end of season, Hartlepool's do, and them walked in, and they were obviously already established like young Premier League players, you know. So it was mad.
Jody's a good lad.
He is
Nice lad.
Company doing technical stuff. I don't suggest he's doing it, but he's got a company that does like big screen cinemas and stuff.
Has he?
So he obviously, if he's got clientele, like John Terry was one of his customers, these big houses and they're getting these cinema rooms done and all that type of stuff. He got into all that.
We started the Baller League, didn't he? The first season round, he was one of the managers. Him and John Terry were managers, but that they haven't done it this year.
I mean, I've never watched a second of that.
Good,
thing.
you know.
Is it?
Honestly, I sit on a Monday night when I get in from work coaching, and there's normally two games on by the time I get in, and it's quite interesting. There's some good players. I mean, it's totally.
Who's the goalkeeper who plays from up here? He was at South Shields or something.
Oh, was
only small players.
Oh,
he plays in it for one of the teams.
Well, Martin Waghorn played the other night, and he scored a hat-trick. His levels were. I mean, he's an ex. You know, he's only
recently retired, isn't he?
Yeah. He banged goals in for fun even in the championship. Do you know what I mean? So he's playing against lads who were probably playing non-league or street players. Yeah. And you could tell his quality, like just his appreciation of a pass, his awareness. Yeah. But it's the reason I like it is at the end of the 15-minute half, the last 3 minutes, they have like what they call a game changer. So each game change is different. So they might have one-on-ones. So it's 3 minutes of me versus the keeper. I've got to run from the halfway line, score, then they get the chance. Then it's 3v2s. So you get 30 seconds to score. So it might be me, you and Tommy against their two defenders and goalkeeper. So you're looking at little overlaps and little threaded passes. But then they get the chance. Different so your keeper's got to run on and one runs off. So they have different game. There's one game changer where any foul in the 3 minutes, you're down a player. Any foul, it doesn't have to be a bad foul. Any foul, he's off. So people are cautious. So you know you can get at them, and it's quite
different,
interesting.
Exciting now.
The reason I've never watched it is I don't like the theatrics behind it. Like I've seen the managers like have to go at each other, pretending to fight and all that type of stuff, and it's too American for me. You know, like Jolene Lescott played Martin Waghorn, and you just get a taste of like watching them against kind of amateur people and the levels. You see the levels. Yeah. And there's some, don't get me wrong, there's some good players where you think, well, where have you been? Why have you never played pro? But the game is completely different to 11-a-side. You know, it's a futsal version.
I think he wants to get involved here, doesn't he? Should we get him on?
Definitely,
You're in that Baller League, mate.
Are you on commission here for the Baller League?
I'll tell you what, I wish it was. Yeah. On a serious note, there's one player. He plays semi-professional down in London. Every Monday he turns up. He gets £800 in his hand.
Does he?
For the team he plays for.
Baller League.
And then he's obviously got his job, his main job.
Not bad for a night's work. It's funny, yeah.
Not bad at all.
£800 with your, remember them glasses with the elastic band? Right. £800 to wear them for a night.
Can you remember like Bev Beers, like that lad used to play Yummy?
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Yeah.
And you and him didn't get on at all.
No. Well, he was kicking the kids up a height, wasn't he? So I thought, I'll kick him.
So he had his normal glasses on, right? But obviously, because of the prescription, and obviously technology's moved on, but back then the prescription was like jam jar.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And he had them on with an elastic band fastened on, keeping them on.
I was like a Japanese kamikaze pilot.
Honestly, man, he used to come on and try to kick this. I think he was only a kid as well, I think.
He was about 18, wasn't he? But we were only like 13, 14.
Never mind.
Then about 30-odd-year-old.
Class.
You will have been about 30-odd.
Yeah. Never mind. Moving on.
Brilliant. So moving on, let's get back to the derby then. So we've looked at what we think the formations will be. We've had our say on that. Some of the key battles. Set pieces. I think set pieces will play a big part of Newcastle. Newcastle conceded quite a few from set pieces, I think, haven't they?
I think Newcastle are dangerous from set pieces.
Yeah.
I do. With the sent that. Is it Chow the centre half?
Yeah.
Dan Burn.
And Dan Burn, I think, yeah.
They're a big side, Newcastle, but I think Sunderland can be as well.
Of course,
so,
yeah.
That'll
long
be
throws and...
If there is a goal, I think it'll be a switch-off moment. Somebody will switch off.
Yeah. And that's what I've said about Sunderland. They're prone to them this season. They're prone to the mistake, and that's what lets people in as opposed to build up, you know. And that's what 100% Sunderland have got to have a look at and say. And I know they're learning every week because it's the first time they're playing the Premier League for all of them players. Yep. They're learning every week, but it's them. You can get away with them mistakes in the Championship or League One. You kind of get away with them, and as soon as you make that mistake and you give someone the ball on the edge of the box,
it's in the back of the net.
Because your team, you've all started moving that way, and all of a sudden it's back at you, and you're not in shape, and so it's difficult. So they've got to stop that. Let's move on to derbies then. Just the Tyne Wear-Tyne derbies in general there. Tom and I were talking before the game about, like, you know, key moments we've seen over the years at these derbies, and I remember the one, and it was the Fabio Barini goal, 94th minute, something like that, and we'd gone and we were down in the concourse trying to get away early, like, because of the crowds. It just went up. The crowd erupted, and he was sprinting back up. Security trying to stop us, and was
that at the Stadium of Light?
Stadium of Light. Barini was doing there. He used to do that finger thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a celebration.
aye. And they won the game. So
Right.
it won the game on that one.
Was
Yeah,
that a 2-1 or a 1-0?
I can't remember, Stu, to be honest. It might have been a 2-1.
2-1 probably. Yeah, it used to be 2-1 a lot, didn't it?
And I've got a stat about they played each other 157 times, Sunderland-Newcastle, but it's a question later on, so I'll ask you later on. So, any standout moments for you, Tom? I'll tell you what I'll do, not as a player, as a fan, standout moments for you.
I think as a kid growing up, one that springs to mind straight away is the one at Roker Park in the playoffs. Paul Hardiman misses a penalty right at the death, and then as John Burgess saved it and sort of gathered the rebound, Hardiman's ran in and booted him in the head and got sent off right at the end, and obviously a lot of trouble after the game. It all erupted on the field as well, and then in the second leg at St James's, Sunderland won, you know, and got the final. Gabardini Gates, the strike force, the G force as they called them back then, terrorised them. So it was that stands out as a young kid. I think I was 10-year-old then, you know, watching that.
Just a pin over. Were you there?
No, I had good seats because I was with my dad, so he obviously did a bit of scouting, didn't he? So my dad got us decent tickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was obviously a mad memory, you know, just seeing, thinking, he just booted him in the head, you know. I mean, Paul Hardman was known for being a bit of a hard case, you know, a bit of a tough fullback, and he certainly didn't disappoint that day. But yeah, that's, as a young kid, that was a memory that sort of springs to mind. And then obviously there's been many more after that, hasn't there? You know, you probably touch on it a bit with the DiCanio knee slide, you know, Shearer missing penalties, you know, Sorensen saving the penalties, Niall Quinn scoring the header, Kevin Phillips, you know, there's so many memories. Defoe's volley.
Yeah, volley.
You know, there's been some fantastic memories and moments in games, and I'm sure Newcastle fans will have their own as well. Yeah. But from a Sunderland point of view, you know, they're standout ones over the years.
Absolutely.
Definitely. The DiCanio one's the big one for me. You know, in recent times.
Iconic.
Was it 3-0?
3-0.
At St James's.
At St James's.
I mean, that's, you know, you go there and win 3-0.
Yeah.
For Newcastle fans, that must have been one of the worst days in history. Losing to your biggest rival 3-0. And then that, you know, the knee slide just capped it all off, didn't it?
With his
suit on.
with his Italians.
Probably one of the most iconic moments in
I wonder how much that suit cost.
Oh, well, yeah.
Tommy obviously knows him well as well.
Not being cheap.
It's one of those moments that gets played. It'll get played before the
Definitely.
You know, when they're doing the build-up and all that type. So it'll be on there. That video will be on there, because if you're right, it is one of those iconic. The Defoe volley will be on there as well. There's certain moments in the team that... what about you, Dan? I mean, any earlier sort of...
I mean, I saw many a game, but the memories, I don't know. I mean, it was that many, wasn't there? But the game's changed, though.
Yeah.
There's more focus now on managers and coaches and the dugout. And years ago, you just had the dugout and you had a manager and a coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going back before even subs. You know, so there was no bench as such, and you didn't have all of this camera work and technology. It was just the manager and the coach.
I wonder when subs came into it then.
They started with one, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, going back about 20 years for the one sub.
Really?
I'll have to check it, but it started with
I reckon it'll be about 30 years, maybe, Zai.
Yeah,
maybe longer.
One coach, didn't it?
Yeah, one sub, I think, and then it went to 2. Then there was 3, I think, including the goalkeeper or something. Yeah. And then obviously now it's 7, isn't it? I think
7 now as well. You can make so many changes in different phases. They're making it too complicated.
Concussion subs and all that sort of thing. It's like...
Yeah. You can only have 5 from the 7, can't you?
Yeah, you'll end up with 11 players on the bench soon. You know, give it another 5 years' time. There'll be 11 on the pitch, 11 subs, and you'll be able to bring...
Champions League's about 10 subs.
9, is it? I think maybe or something, yeah.
One memory I do have, and it's quite a recent one, is when we went to the game at the Stadium of Light, and I hadn't been very well. I'd been a little bit wobbly with my nerves and everything. And me and
It's a
you
bad
went.
decision going there on that day if you'd been bad.
Absolutely.
There were your nerves, yeah.
And we
Did it
walked
make you feel any better?
I did, Tom. We walked over the bridge, and the police were there with the Alsatians, and that some of the fans were just trying to goad the dogs. And I thought, well, you know. Anyway, we got to the ground under the concourse, and without word of a lie, every Sunderland fan, even including kids and women, were singing, "We're going to have a party when Stephen Taylor dies."
Jesus.
I remember that, yeah.
And I said to Sonny, and as I said, I'd been a bit wobbly, and I thought, this is all I need, like. Yeah, and that is that's too far.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
Of course it is.
and that's true, Tom.
I tell you, link to that, what I don't like at the ground, and they do it most weeks, stand up if you hate the mags, right? And I'm like, we're at the Stadium of Light, we're at our ground. Why are you concerned about them? I sit there and I'm like, why am I going to get involved in that? I'm not interested. Like, they're at their ground, they've got their club, they're doing their thing, we're here.
Yeah.
Why are you worried about that? Because they have a go at each other saying, oh, we're never off your mind and all that. Well, you're doing the same.
You're just doing the same, yeah. And hate's such a strong word, isn't it? You know, hate. You might not like them, which is obviously a lot better than hate.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it goes deep. And I know fans can be so passionate and they at each other, but yeah, there's a line and you've got to be careful not to cross it.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, you go to a game to watch your team. If they win, brilliant. If they get beat, you're disappointed.
Absolutely.
Get yourself home and ready to go again.
And move on,
Do you know what it is that we sitting here with football hats on because we've all been involved in it, we all understand it. Some fans don't.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue about football. It's just the norm to go and watch a game of footy and shout. And I've sat at Sunderland games before and other games as well. And some of the shouts that come out of the supporters, you're like,
what are you on about?
What are you on about?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And go on.
You obviously have not got a clue about football.
Well, let's be honest. Some people go to the football not to watch the football.
Yeah.
And on games like that, some people will just be going to look for trouble.
That's right, Tom.
End of.
Yeah.
No interest in the football game whatsoever.
Yeah. There's some people who turn up late to the game because they're having a drink. So everyone's having to stand up and
then they're in and out the toilets.
Then
they're up and down.
Yeah.
And then it gets to 35 minutes and
they're
down.
Yeah.
And then back up late for the second half, and then leaving on 80 minutes or so. And you think,
he's got the pub after.
Exactly. I mean, each to their own, but if I'm going to the football match, I'm watching the football match. Simple. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going up and down the toilet. Yes, you might need the toilet once, but not twice, 3, 4. You know what I mean? People are just up and down, and you're like, there's a game going on here.
And it does disrupt your game.
Yeah.
Because you're up and down, you're trying to watch the game and stuff. And I actually think it's not cheap to go to football these days.
Oh.
No. You're actually, if you count it up, the amount of money they're wasting in the minutes they're not seeing. I think, well, why are you paying for a season ticket? You're like, you miss as much as you bloody see. Right, here's an interesting thing for you because we've got unique insight here, Tom. So, we were talking before we started recording there, like, what's it like? Give us an insight into Derby Day, home and away, Derby Day. Is the build-up a training different? What's it like leading into that game? Then what's it like on game day?
Well, I think all managers will tell you that they try not to change too much. You know, try and keep everything the same. You know, week in, week out. It's just another game. But I know, players know, it's not. You know, it's everything. You know, as soon as them fixtures come out, you are looking. I.e., when I was at Sunderland, you are looking for the Newcastle game. You know, when is it? You're so excited, you're looking forward to it. You want to stay fit, you want to be playing, you want to be part of it. And the week leading up to the game, you go through every emotion. You know, you're nervous, you're excited, you're worried, you run things through your head. If this happens, if that happens, if I score, if I set it up, if we get beat, if we win, you go through everything. And then on the morning of the game, you know, you might be a little bit edgy as well. From what you normally are, you know, people trying to talk to you leave me alone. You're trying to get in the zone. It's different, definitely different to a normal game. And like I said, the manager will try and play it down, but you can't. You know, it's a massive derby, and I was lucky to experience both sides of it and playing both of them. We got beaten both of them, which was a disaster. Certainly the one at Sunderland, the Stadium of Light. We went 1-0 up. Justin Hoyt scored, and then after that we wouldn't say we crumbled, but once the first one went in, the second one, we were already fragile as it was as a team that season. And I think Shiva scores a penalty as well, and it was Shiva's last game. I think me and Julio Arga's gone in for a tackle and sort of sandwiched him a little bit, and I think that was him done after that. He'd hurt his knee. He was struggling with his knee anyway, yeah. So he didn't feature anymore after that. And then you've got the pressure from family, friends, who are Sunderland fans, or you might get the one or two who support Newcastle as well. So they'll obviously be happy and they'll have a bit of a go at you because they beat you and they sort of ribbing you. Family are saying, "What happened today? Why? What happened? How come you got beaten?" I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. I'm part of the team, but I'm not the full team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you just can't explain. Like we said, we've said before, anything can happen on the day.
Mhm.
Does nerves play a factor? Could do, certain players. I think form goes out the window, like we've said. It's a one-off game. It's like a cup final. And you've got to be all in and all or nothing. And I look at when I was there and we had a few foreign lads. And at that time, I don't think they realised what the derby was all about. And that's just me being perfectly honest. And that's not me having to go at them. That's just because they've come from a different country. I don't think they were ready for it. I don't think they'd experienced anything like that before. They'd come from abroad, and they might have played in smaller derbies as such, but nothing as big as that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good question. What Tommy's just mentioned there. If they go with the starting 11s that we think they might, is any of them 22 players ever experienced a Sunderland-Newcastle derby?
Depends who they go with, but try Hume has.
The cup game.
The cup game, Dan Ballard. I'm trying to think who else was there. That's probably it, though.
I forget
Just them couple.
And Gordon, if Gordon plays, he was in that game.
Gordon played, Dan Burn played.
But I didn't. For me, that
wasn't a proper derby.
No, and the reason it wasn't is was Sunderland in the Championship or League One at the time? Championship. So for me, it was a derby, of course it was, but I don't think it had the same feel. I think both teams are on a level playing field now.
Yeah,
they've both got good players. They're both doing well.
And I think I look at the calibre of Sunderland players now, and from when I was there, it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
The Sunderland players now have played in big games.
Yeah.
They've experienced bigger games, so they'll experience bigger occasions like that. But like I said, Sunderland-Newcastle is mega.
Who was your manager and captain, Tom, at that time?
Kevin Ball was their manager at the Sunderland game. I remember him ringing us on the Friday night, actually, and he just said, "Listen," he says, "you're playing tomorrow." He said, "You're a local lad. You know what it's all about. You're in the team. So make sure you get rested up tonight and obviously sleep well and come tomorrow prepared." So I appreciate the phone call, because a lot of managers wouldn't do that. A lot of managers would still be sort of thinking, what team am I going to play tomorrow? It can run up until the next day easily. Dinner time, some managers might not be sure of which way they're going to go. There could be one or two they're unsure of. But yeah, Bally rang me. He said, "Listen, you're playing." So that made us feel a little bit better, a little bit easier, sort of thinking, right, I'm playing tomorrow, this is how I'm going to prepare. Even though I'd prepare properly anyway, it just gave me sort of peace of mind that, yes, I'm starting. Captain, I think, was Gary Breen that day, centre-half, who was a good leader, good captain. But, like I said in previous episodes, we were a bit limited to what we had. Our players were probably top championship players, with the exception of one or two who could maybe play in the Premier League or had a longer career in the Premier League moving forward. But we give it our all, but we just weren't good enough on the day. Simple. And then in the second game at St James's, we give them a right game. It was 3-2. Emre scores a worldie free kick from about 35 yards out. We ran them close that day. And Mick McCarthy was the manager that day. What Mick's like. And in Bally as well, going into that game, Bally was telling us the importance of the game, what it means. Bally's played in them, he's Sunderland through and through. So he's trying to get that message across to all these types of different characters, different personalities in the dressing room, different players. And like I just said, the foreign lads, did they understand it? Did they know what it meant? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. At that time, I'm not saying the foreign lads who's at Sunderland now won't experience or won't know what it's all about come Sunday, because I think they've played in big games before, so they'll experience big games. But certainly when I was there, it was tough.
Do you think there's a chance, not from a fan's perspective, but from a player's perspective, that it's almost a watered down fixture now, because there isn't really local lads playing anymore, is there? In the Sunderland side, there's Dan Neil. There's Pato, who aren't
who aren't part of it really, or they'll sub, in the squad, but not.
So the starting
featuring.
11 will be, no one's got any time vested in the club, have they? In that starting 11, really, or any local connections.
Yeah.
And the manager as well.
And the manager as
I mean,
well.
you've got Procky there, obviously, who has experienced it before.
He'll
a
pass that
local
on.
lad, Sunderland through and through. He'll sort of pass it on, and I'm sure he'll be getting into the players. And listen, this is what it means. It means everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It means the lot.
I think you're right what you're saying about managers trying to play it down. I think you have to, because I think nervous energy prior to it being there.
Yeah.
And that nervous energy, it kills you. It absolutely. You've probably been there, Tom, yourself, playing in games when you've lost that nervous energy. You've got nothing.
You're uptight. You don't feel the same. You know what I mean? Your legs, your energy, it
Football's
saps.
all confidence, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is. I don't care what anybody says. It's one of the biggest sports in the world where confidence plays the biggest part. And I think that nervous energy, you lose that bit of confidence. And that's why I think managers, like Tommy said earlier, you have to try and keep it. Listen,
calm.
it's just another game. We're going to do everything the same, But deep down, it's the fans that it means the most to them.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. It's the fan base, isn't it?
Oh,
I
definitely.
agree, because that's the heart and soul of the club, isn't it? Of
course it is.
It's their club.
Yeah, it is.
When you come in as a player, it's not the same. Unless you're a Dan Neil and you grew up as the ball boy.
And he's played Newcastle, Sunderland academy games. I can vouch for it. I've been there. Whether you're playing under 9s or under 16s or 18s, Newcastle, Sunderland within an academy environment is the biggest game of the year. And you play your best players. If you've got under 18s who've been in the 21s, they come back down for that game. That is the academy game you want to win. So they fed that. They've been fed that from 9-year-old, and it carries on into the first team.
So do you think Lebris will have a job calming them down? Because I just don't think that's the same. I don't think there's anybody in that side who he needs to pull back and say, don't let the emotions get the better of you, because to a lot of them, it's it'll just be another game.
Yeah.
Yes, the atmosphere is going to be unreal, but it is just a game.
I think with the advent of Sky now, TV, social media,
it's heightened, isn't it?
I think, and I think these players, as you say, that they haven't grown up like Dan Neil, but I think all this social media and the Sky and everything, it's constant at them, and I think they'll have a good understanding of how.
I agree.
What it means.
Understand. I think they'll understand. I think they'll know what it's all about. You can read up on the history. You can get all of the footage. I just don't think it means that in there.
But could that be a good thing?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think it is a good thing from that perspective.
Because to them, it's just another game of football.
Another game, but they know the importance of it.
Yes,
But it is just a game of football to them.
Whereas a Dan Neil, a Pat, or Lewis Miley, who've grew up with it.
In the past, the likes of Cattermole, and there was that famous footage where he'd fouled Colback, wasn't there? Colback. And he was on the bottom and he's over him. Aye, because
two local lads.
One had played for Sunderland and went to Newcastle. So that's the bit that isn't in this derby, I don't think.
Yeah.
There isn't that local sort of fierce rivalry between two northeast lads, or a few northeast lads. This is two European sides, effectively, isn't it?
I think VAR's changed a bit of that as well, because you can't get away with anything now. Like literally nothing. Every single bit is re-scrutinised and looked at again. And if you do something a little bit where you might be getting away with it 4 or 5 years ago,
that's right.
You're not getting away with that now.
No, definitely not.
So that bit now has probably gone out the game a little bit, which is what the fans love. They don't want.
Exactly.
All they want to see is the first 2 minutes. Xhaka and Tonali go absolutely.
That's right.
But you've got to be careful.
Because whoever's
the latest could be seeing red. So I think VAR's changed that.
VAR's changed it on the telly when you watch it on the telly, but it's changed it at the ground, because when you score,
I know.
You're like, nobody dares.
Well, exactly.
Everyone's looking, going,
is it offside? It could be. Is it going to get disallowed?
Waiting for VAR.
Alan Brazil hates it. I listen to talk. He says, just get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Well, I don't like it.
There was a goal the other day. We're watching it. Sunderland scored, and they went and checked it for someone. I can't remember, it was checked for offside or whatever. So we're all sat there talking to each other, going, what do you think? I think he might have been offside. Actually, it was the other way. It was Bournemouth's goal that was given offside.
On the line.
Aye. But we're all like, and it stops the enjoyment, and then it comes up, decision like offside or whatever, or not offside or whatever the case may be, and then everyone celebrates.
Another celebration.
This is crazy. This, and we were talking, saying it was better in the Championship when if a penalty wasn't given, it just wasn't given.
Yeah.
You just got on with the game.
Yeah.
You know, you knew nothing was happening. Or if the goal was given and the flag didn't go up, it was a goal.
It's too much.
And you
It's
just
killing
went,
the game,
you know,
Would you get rid of it?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah, me too.
I'd get rid of
Definitely.
it.
Would you? Definitely. Absolutely.
Apart from maybe the goal line
Goal line, yeah.
technology,
Possibly,
Seems
yeah.
fairly straightforward and standard.
But
Ref gets it
With
in
the
front
watch
and it's-
straight away, yeah.
Hopefully not, but there's going to come a time when somebody is clearly offside, but he's running to play the ball,
Bad
and a
injury.
defender.
Someone gets injured.
But the linesman doesn't put his flag up until the death, if you
So
like.
let's finish the
Somebody's going to get tackled,
Definitely.
broken leg, what
Definitely.
have you, ends up in hospital,
Definitely.
and then VAR says it was off. Yeah, instead of putting it up like years ago, if you were offside, the linesman was straight up, flag.
Yeah. The
Game stopped.
They changed too many rules. I mean, did you see the Crystal Palace Man U one where Mateta's it's hit his other
Yeah.
foot? No, it's just
Yeah.
it's
That's
no
just
goal.
come in this rule, hasn't it?
So
this
even the
season?
professional footballers don't know the rules.
Well,
Because Delict was going mad. He
It's
didn't
changed
realise.
this season,
Yeah.
that apparently.
somebody said to me, the ruling is, with that one, that you're not allowed to kick the ball twice.
That's it. But it's changed this season,
So
apparently.
been taped.
Just been changed.
Oh, right.
now you can
because I
retake
couldn't
it.
understand it.
So-
Because there's been Champions League people I can't remember who it was, someone hit one in the Champions League shootout or something and couldn't take it again because hit his other foot. So they were all bringing all that up
Yeah.
and it was mental.
Well,
like.
somebody told me that it shouldn't have even been retaken.
Well, they reckon
new
the rules have
just
changed,
come in this
apparently.
year.
Just come in.
That's
Well,
why. That's why Delict was going mental.
Yeah.
Saying no.
Ah, right. Sorry, I see what you're
So
saying.
even Delict
Yeah.
didn't even know the rules.
Yeah.
So there's that many rule changes.
Yeah.
But it's going to VAR. Things are going to VAR these days and even VAR's getting it wrong. So if
Of course
that's
they are.
happening, then what's the point in having it?
Well,
Because
if
VAR's
you-
a person, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And who's looking at these
That's-
things? And,
if you were
like,
a referee and you didn't give a penalty or you didn't give a red card, yeah, and then VAR intervene and say, go to the screen.
Mhm.
I don't know about anybody in the room, but if it was me, I would be thinking, oh, dear, I've dropped a one there. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? It should have
Yeah.
been a red card or it should have
I
been a
think
penalty.
every decision is opinionated.
Of course it
So the
is.
Dan Burn penalty the other day when against Tottenham when Bettencourt's got a hold of him.
Yeah.
See, I thought that was a penalty.
Yeah.
He's not even looking
Wasn't
at the ball. He's not
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at the ball.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
wrestling him. Dan Burn was clever because he was leaning into him and he's all arms.
It
Yeah.
happens every
But
week, that.
Some people at work were like, never a penalty. I'm like, of course it was a penalty. So even that one,
Yeah.
I tell you
Controversial.
at it. I
Yeah.
say outside the box, is that a free kick? Every
exactly.
time?
Oh,
Of course it
absolutely.
is.
Of course it
And
is.
then they're saying, "Oh yeah, but it's different in the box." You're like, "No, it's not.
How
The
come?
rules
Of course
are the
it's
rules."
not.
Yeah.
And if it's a
Shouldn't
foul, it's
be.
a
And
foul.
on the field of play, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
the only reason it's different is the pressure for the ref of
Yeah.
giving a penalty.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the difference. But the rule's the same.
You know when they're lining up and they're hugging them and that.
Aye.
Where else on the pitch are you allowed to do that?
Not allowed.
Because if I'm in general play and I'm in the middle of the park and he comes and starts grabbing me,
Yeah.
it's a free kick.
Of course.
What you doing, son? You can't.
Of course.
So how they get away with it is beyond me.
Yeah.
Well, at the start of the season, saying that they were going to get rid of that, and actually, if you go back to the first couple of games of the season, first couple of weeks of the season, there was penalties given for the
Aye.
holding and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and they were like, "Hey, this is going to get rid of this." Then it just stopped,
Yeah.
Aye.
and it's gone back to the way it was.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
the bit I dislike the most is the ones who the ball is irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's the man,
Mm.
and they're not bothered.
No.
They're facing away
Yeah.
from the ball.
Facing away
Yeah.
from the ball, and their job is just to stop. When did it go from the idea was to win the ball,
Uh-huh.
not
That's right.
just
He's
stop
so
the-
concerned about the player, aren't he? Like, and grabbing him and
Alan
stopping
Brazil
him.
said
And,
on Talk Sport the other day to stop it, bring the rule in when there's a corner, nobody's allowed in the 6-yard box until the ball's struck. So all of a sudden now, you're making your runs from outside the box. Because the reason to hold on is probably to guard the keeper, to stop people
Aye.
pinning the keeper and stuff, they're grabbing. So Alan Brazil said, just bring the rule in. If they want to do that and you're not going to give penalties, nobody's allowed in the 6-yard box till the penalty stops.
And then you're going to have the case where when it's taken, right? Did the move before the ball? Yeah.
Was he-
So Val get involved again. Oh, look at that! You know.
You shouldn't be allowed, for me, on a corner, I can touch you, but I can't do any other thing than touch you like I would be marking you in the
Oh,
outfield.
touch tight.
Touch
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
But I kind of
Can't
grab you.
grab you. You just, well, you're just asking for a penalty.
You hear some of the punditry
Can we get a
where
penalty
he's
away?
clearly got his shirt,
And they go, that's not enough.
and he goes, "Not enough." Like,
How come?
It's
What do you want to do? Like, take
Yeah.
your shirt off?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
I know.
What? Like,
Mental.
when you're not there, you've no idea the force
Mental.
being exerted at that point. There, he's got his shirt off
But
his.
funny if that's anywhere on the pitch, it's a
Free
yellow
kick.
card.
Of
It's a
course
yellow
it is, it's a
card.
free kick, yeah.
Right.
Any shirt grabbing is a yellow card.
And that's the bit that they needed. I think the start of the season with the right intent, which was clamp down on it, penalties. As soon as they started giving more and more and more penalties for that, it would have gone. Because there's too much risk of getting a shirt in the box.
That's right.
Didn't they let it go?
Too
and now it's back to the way
inconsistent.
it was?
So inconsistent.
The linesmen now, pointless.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't even give the throws anymore.
Nah,
They
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 don't get
wait for the
involved.
ref to
know.
do that and then put the flag
Yeah.
in the same direction.
They do,
Yeah.
aye.
You watch them all like,
Yeah.
what is the point of you? You don't do offsides.
They do.
You don't even give the throws anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
They're becoming pointless. And can you remember, I don't even know if it's still a thing, can you remember when Champions League or one of the European leagues put them other refs?
They had another one behind the goal, either side of the goal. Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you remember
Yeah, yeah.
So there was 2 linesmen and then there was someone
There was,
on
aye.
the side of the goal of that as well.
I think VAR stuff works in rugby because rugby is a stop-start game.
Stop-start game anyway,
So
yeah.
it works brilliantly because they go for scrums, they go for football's a flowing game.
Aye.
Right.
So it doesn't work.
And it's much more subjective football as well. So
Hmm.
me and you can watch the same thing and have a completely different view on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like even though we can read the rules and we know what the rules are, have a different view on whether that applied or didn't apply. And I
Yeah.
think rugby's much more. The rules are much. They're not more
They're
straightforward.
more black and
'cause I
white.
don't even understand it, but
They're just more black and white.
Aye.
Yeah.
Whereas and in football, sometimes they're moving at such pace.
Mhm.
These
Yeah.
players that when you watch it in slow
Down, yeah, yeah.
it's way worse than
Of
it
course it
ever
does.
was
Yeah.
in
In
reality.
full,
Of course it does.
full time.
Full
And
time.
I
Nice
know
speed.
Lugo 9's challenge yesterday was bad, right?
Mhm.
But in real time, it looked like a booking.
Yeah.
Aye.
And that was the ref's decision. And it did look, you were like, it's a bit late there. Like, looked like a
And then you see the still pitches and the slow down version. It looked terrible, doesn't it?
Terrible.
Yeah.
If
looks
you,
like a mint
Yeah.
up
Does
the
it?
shin.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it, so I'll have
Yeah.
to-
if you look at the game over the years, you know, let's say from the 40s through 50s and modern day, money has been the catalyst
Yeah.
Yeah.
to from you could.
Yeah.
In the 40s and 50s, when I used to go to Rotor Park in the 60s,
Mhm.
Jimmy Matnabe, he wouldn't have lasted a game. He would snap people in half straight away.
Really?
Yeah, but there was no money in the game then. There was a little bit, but not what it is today. But as you go through the years,
Mhm.
yeah, the money that's in the game now is forcing stuff like VAR
Yeah.
to come in because
Definitely.
there's that much money based
Definitely.
on was it a penalty
Yeah.
or not,
Yeah.
Definitely.
and it's spoiling the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
When
I
we
agree.
were growing up, certainly when I was growing up and playing, your message to me was always get the first hit.
Aye.
Yeah,
Like, go, like, you know what I mean? Don't even worry about anything else. Go and hit them straight away. Get the first one in.
Never
Yeah.
said that to me, Dad.
Different type of player.
You used to say to me, don't tackle. Don't
my dad used to say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
absolutely.
what they
mate,
used to say,
absolutely.
Get the first one in.
Aye.
I would never put.
First tackle. First time there's an opportunity, go and hit
Aye.
them hard. And
Because if not, they'll do you.
Tell you
Not
what,
paying off. Aye.
well, I'll tell you a story about George Best, and I can't remember who the manager was or the player, but they were playing against the side, and the manager said to him, "I want you to go and take George Best out, take him out the game. I don't want him playing anymore. Go and hit him and take him out and get him off this field." And he said, "But Gaffer, I'll get sent off." He said, "Believe me, son, they'll miss him more than we'll miss you."
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
We're on about George Best. We could be here all day. I mean,
I know. Brilliant. Brilliant.
he was the best.
Okay, so we've done VAR there. That was somewhere we never thought we were going to do,
No.
sorting VAR out. So
Always
Um,
comes up that VAR. Yeah.
back to the game then. What do you think? Having played it at a good level, and obviously you played at the highest level, Tom. What other things do we think might affect this game? Then you obviously the crowd and a small Newcastle crowd, 2,500, and a 40-odd thousand Mackhams. That I think that will that play a big part. The refereeing's been bad this season. Been really
It'd be
poor.
interesting to see who is referee. I mean, obviously we don't know yet, do we?
No.
But it'd be interesting to see who is. They need obviously a strong one, strong
Definitely.
character.
And who's in the VAR box as well.
And who's in the VAR box? Yeah,
Yeah.
again, we mentioned it straight away. Do you know what I mean? It's like it could,
Does
yeah.
it change a game? And they shouldn't be able to. I
No.
remember we were watching a game with yours, Dad, recently on Sky or something. They must have old games on. I can't remember. It was a Sunderland game I think we were watching, weren't we?
Yeah.
Well, aye.
Uh-huh.
And the ref wasn't involved in the game. You didn't
That's right.
see him
aye.
very much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was really noticeable that the ref wasn't really involved. I
Yeah.
mean, he gave decisions, he gave free kicks and stuff like that, but it wasn't really a big part of the game. They're a massive part of the game now, and they shouldn't be.
They are.
Oh, that's right. Aye.
They're at point now where they're deciding games with poor decisions or no decision, and then VAR's doing the same. VAR's deciding games. They shouldn't be that involved in the game.
right.
They're there to officiate the game. They shouldn't be deciding it.
No.
Well,
with bad decisions.
apart from one or two exceptions, a few years ago, nobody knew the name of the referee.
Aye.
You're right.
Not like it is today. They're all superstars,
Yeah,
aren't they?
true.
I'm a referee, and
True.
I wouldn't be a referee if you give us.
No,
you've got no
it's a
chance.
thankless task.
Hey, when I
It's
was
hard.
coaching in that, man, with the kids, I coached them from 10s to under 18s. And you get given the flag to be the linesman.
On the line. That's hard enough.
It is. Hey, it's
The
awful.
parents.
One of them said something to Adam yesterday. He went, "Hey mate, I'm only doing ins and outs," because he said because he turned out at me, he's offside, man, and the ref didn't give him. We scored, and he started having to go at Adam. Adam went, "Hey mate, I'm only doing ins and outs."
see, I can't understand parents going along at their kids' games and being, vociferous.
no,
I
I've
mean, I
seen
never
some.
was.
You never got
You
upset.
You started off. Yeah, you were the original, and then there was Tommy Dunn, and then there was me dad. There was happy days. It was, yeah.
So, the refereeing, it could make a big difference, couldn't it?
Definitely.
On who it is, Tom, you're right.
Definitely.
If it's the wrong ref who isn't strong enough to cope with that atmosphere, that crowd, and that level of kind of intensity, could change the game completely. Bad time of year, weather, although that pitch is
Yeah, it should be fine, yeah.
I think the
be
weather will
fine.
be all right tomorrow. The home crowd, it could go both ways, couldn't it? It could really help them, or it could put a lot of pressure on them. So there's that.
Do you think that's a good question? That so when you're playing, Tom, and you're playing in a derby, is there more pressure at home
Definitely.
or away? More pressure at home,
Definitely.
yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think from a personal point of view, and I think from the team point of view, playing at home, there's definitely a lot more pressure. Obviously, more fans on your side, but then that can have the opposite effect if things are going against you.
Yeah.
And fans are fans. When the going's good, it's brilliant. There's no better place. But when the going's bad and it's not so hard, then it's tough. And you've got to be mentally strong and thick-skinned and to weather their moments.
To become nasty and aggressive if it's not going.
Absolutely.
Which I find, honestly, like, you support the club, but if they're not doing well, you're hammering them.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, mate. Like,
And that, it's not that long ago. There was stuff on social media that Eddie Howe wasn't the man.
That's right.
When
Yeah.
they were going through
They were
a bit
asking
of
for his head, weren't they?
just won the first cup in 70 years, and they're having a bit of they've turned it round a bit, but they're having a bit of bad run, and all of a sudden,
Oh, it changes all
Eddie
the
Howe
time.
out.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy.
what is going on there, man?
Crazy.
It's mental, yeah.
Well, it's probably going back to what you said earlier about there are a certain group of fans who don't understand the game.
Exactly.
And because they've gone on a bad run, it's these people who are saying he should be sacked.
Yeah.
They
Do you
don't
know what I
understand.
like it when you're sitting in the stand and you see somebody who's obviously not athletically ever been built to play football, and he's shouting, "You Chinese, shite him!" And I'm like, but he's not shite. He's a professional footballer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'd love to see you go down there, put a pair of boots on, and do any better.
That's
Well,
what I mean.
Well, that guy done it. He's getting on a bit now, man. Sheffield United manager for years.
Warnock,
Warner.
Neil Warnock done that one day.
He invited someone in to
He
train or
invited-
something,
he
didn't he? Or
did,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
put him on the pitch, didn't
He
he?
did.
Yeah,
He went. He went to the crowd and said, "You come and get your boots on."
Right.
Aye.
Yeah.
He's a classic game.
Oh, he's
Some of his clips.
Old school.
Of that story, who might have been Harry Redknapp or something like that. He signed that player because someone rang and said he was George Weir's agent.
That was at Southampton, that Ali
Was it?
Dyer. And I don't know if Souness was the manager.
You might
I think
be right.
Souness was the manager. 'Cause I only know because Jim and Jill, a friend of mine, he played in that game. And he said this lad had trained all week and he said he was hopeless. Ali Dyer, he was George Weir's cousin apparently. And they played, I don't know who they played at the Dell, Southampton's old ground. And he came on a sub. And I reckon he was shocking.
He
so
took him off after a
bad.
couple of minutes.
Yeah, he was on and off. Never to be seen again. But honestly, yeah, biggest wind-up story going, I think, yeah.
Someone just saying that they were George Weir's agent,
Yeah.
this was his cousin or something
Yeah.
like that, and he was a superstar. And
Ali Dyer or Ali Dare or something, or whatever he called
how
him, yeah.
much money he made out of that lad, because he was getting paid money. And
Mental.
he
Oh,
had
aye.
to pay his contract up and that.
Crazy. Crazy.
Brilliant. Right, I've got a few fans' questions for you. So the first one's here from a lad called Ryan McKinney. And he's saying, as fans, what does the derby mean to you? Control.
Massive. I think being in and around it and being brought up in an area where I think it was predominantly more Sunderland fans, if I'm honest, being brought up in Shotton. Yes, there was Newcastle fans, but I think there was a few more Sunderland fans. It just, I think, for people who go to work as well, and you're working with other people who are split, they might support Newcastle. You just want to go in to work on a Monday morning and be sort of proud, be happy, be smiling, rather than get the mickey took out of you until the next derby game, really. To get one over on your friends and colleagues and stuff is big,
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights, that's what it is, bragging rights, because I see people in the local pub and there's a few big Newcastle fans and there's a few Newcastle Sunderland fans, and you just want to, the next time you see them, you don't want to be going in there saying, you see the game last week, you know what I mean? You want to sort of be saying, what happened last week? So it is more of a bragging thing, yeah.
I think for some fans, it's that result will determine their season. So wherever Sunderland and Newcastle, this is some fans, the ones who are probably clued up about football would take a hit if Sunderland got Champions League football but they got beat 5-0. That they would take that.
Some.
Because, some. But for some, they wouldn't care if Sunderland or Newcastle got relegated as long as you win that derby game. That's how big it is to some fans. It will determine their whole season.
And it's interesting that it's this time of year as well, so you've got to finish the year
just before Christmas.
Christmas. Could ruin certain people's Christmas, absolutely.
So this is quite a good question. As a prediction, will the winner of this game finish higher in the table? Does this drive the rest of the season for the winner of this tie? Or is it just a one-off like you guys have already said?
Do you know what? I'm probably going to go with I think it will. I think it'll probably mean that much if there's a winner, that it'll probably kick them on a little bit of a run over the Christmas period. And you've just seen there, we're talking about how well Sunderland's done so far, and they have. And Newcastle's been a bit iffy. There's only 1 point in it. Do you know what I mean? So that puts one team either 4 points clear or the other 2 points clear if there's a winner. And then there's still some tough games to come as well. So I would stick my neck on line and say I think it will. It'll kickstart one of them further on.
I'm not too sure. I think there's it'll be brilliant and it'll obviously keep the club on a high if Sunderland were to win or if Newcastle were to win, but pump them up a little bit. But I still think there's a lot of games to come, and there's a lot of twists and turns. I think if Sunderland were to win, will they stay above Newcastle all season? Not sure. If Newcastle were to win, will they go above Sunderland and stay there? I don't know. Sunderland, I think, have got good momentum, but it can change so quickly.
Yeah.
It can change so quickly.
I don't think it's a defining moment, is
Definitely not.
No.
Okay. And this is from a lad called Leighton Armstrong. Could you do a combined Sunderland-Newcastle 11?
Oh, Specs' son, that.
Is it?
Yeah. Leighton, yeah.
So currently, both squads?
Yeah.
Well, I think the goalkeeper's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, so definitely Sunderland, yeah.
Going Roofs. I think Pope's injured anyway or something, isn't he?
But he's nowhere.
He's not in
nowhere near. He's better than both of them, easily.
So we're going Robin Roofs?
Yes, definitely.
So right back, we've got Multi-Ailey potentially or Hume versus, would it be Kieran Trippier
or Livramento?
Livramento, isn't it?
I would go Livramento, man. I think he's very good, very good.
To me, he'll be in the England setup for the World
100%.
Cup.
I would, Livramento is very good, yeah. If I've got my Sunderland hat on, I'm saying Hume, and I'm not saying because of his quality. I just think because of what he brings, the passion that we touched on, a reckless challenge. Yes, he's got that in him, definitely. But we also see when he tackles and he gets the ball and he gets the man. You know what the Sunderland fans like. I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And as a fan watching it, you're thinking, love that.
You'll do for me.
You'll do for me. There's a tackle and there's a tackle, and when he gets it right, he does take the ball and man.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it needs that spark. A game needs that spark to get the fans up, and then the fans getting up, then the players react to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that can come from a tackle, and they've had it over the years, haven't they, with ball.
Yeah. But also you need a bit more than that. Just that, you know what I mean? Listen, he's done brilliant this season. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's got good quality. He scored a couple of goals and he does well for Northern Ireland. But I think with a sort of regimental hat on, I think, Livramento possibly.
I'm
better quality out of
I'm a big
all the attributes.
I think he's a very good player.
We'll do this just based on a 4-3-3. Just
for
simplicity. So left back.
It's got to be
without doubt
Ronaldo, yeah.
Definitely the best left back in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, I think Newcastle's chopped and changed a little bit, haven't they? They've had Byrne there, they've had Hall there, Livramento sometimes played there, left back, so I think Ronaldo, certainly.
Yeah.
Two centre-halves. Quite tight that, isn't it?
Aye. Ballard and Alderete have been unbelievable.
Yeah. And
but
Charles
Chow's been
good.
very good.
Yeah.
I'll probably put one of each.
Definitely.
Just to because Malik Chow has been top draw.
Yeah.
Dan Burns been decent and all.
Yeah, no, you can't rule them
That's a
out, can
difficult
you?
one.
But I think
But
that's a fair shout, one of each. We don't have to say who, but we pick.
I think you'd go Alderete, yeah, and Chow, wouldn't you, or whatever? I think they've got a good balance there. Yeah, it's a good
Alderete and
balance.
Ballard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alderete, or whatever. Yeah, however you pronounce.
Alderete and
Yeah,
Yeah. Is he right-footed, chap?
Yeah.
So that gives you
Right,
that
left
balance,
balance,
right,
yeah.
left, yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. Who at the centre mid then? Bruno or Xhaka?
both.
Both, yeah.
I'd have both of them in.
Yeah.
I love them
Yeah.
both.
Both of them.
So you're gonna we'll do that then. So there's two of the positions gone.
Right.
So you've got one more midfield position now to fill. And you've got Lafayette, you've got Talby, you've got
Siddiqui,
Traore, you've got Tonali, you've
Joe
got Joe
Linton.
Linton. I don't think Linton's hit the heights as last
No, he
season, I
hasn't.
don't
He
think.
hasn't.
And Tonali to a certain level, has he? I thought Tonali was outstanding last season, but this season,
Brought
not
him off a
sure.
few times,
Been
he hasn't
injured a little
started.
bit. And obviously,
You know what it is? I'm going to go Siddiqui.
Siddiqui.
That midfield three.
Yeah.
Bruno's got the quality. Xhaka's got the calmness
Yeah.
and the organising, and Siddiqui's got the energy. I think it'll be an unbelievable three in the middle.
Great three in the middle, that wouldn't it?
yeah, you can't really argue, yeah.
Out wide, right wing, you've obviously got Traore or Talby.
Talby struggled. I would definitely pick Gordon on the other side.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I would go out for me. I would go Talby. I
Talby,
like him.
right.
He's
Yeah.
got some good stuff.
Yeah.
He's a threat. He's comfortable on the ball. He can travel with it. He's got good vision.
Yeah, I think on form, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And we've just got one left, have we, which is centre forward.
I know
That's
Tommy
tight,
would
isn't
pick.
it? Because even Sunderland don't know.
Well, exactly. Isadore's in and out a little bit. Walter Marder's obviously been a bit more of a permanent fixture for Newcastle.
I'm going to go again. The Sunderland fans will hate us, but I'm going to go Walter Marder. He
I'm
plays in the national team for Germany, who are a top nation.
going for him as well.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Excellent. I'll go with that. Yeah. 'Cause like I say, it's hard, isn't it? Because Sunderland,
Chop and change a little bit.
if there was a solid centre forward for Sunderland,
Yeah.
you've got a proper choice.
In
to
and
make,
out,
but
aren't
there
they?
isn't, is there?
Yeah.
It's in and out, isn't it? And they're both doing really well. We
Yeah.
were talking earlier about the whole finisher thing, weren't we? That type of thing. So, right, let's move on to predictions from all of us then. So let's do winner first. Well, win, lose, draw. Let's do that. So I'm going for a Sunderland.
I think
win.
the home crowd
The home
swing
crowd.
at just Sunderland's way.
I'm going for a Sunderland win.
Sunderland win.
Same, yeah.
2-1, me.
Yeah. 2-1. I think the same. A tight game.
Yeah.
2-1.
Tight
Both
game.
teams to score.
But
Don't think
you-
Sunderland will keep them out.
The old adage is the home crowd is a goal start.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
going for Sunderland as well.
Definitely.
Okay, first goal scorer, if you're having a bet.
I'm going to go for Lafay.
Come back to me.
Okay. So we've done outright winner. We've done score because we think 2-1. First goal scorer. It's difficult because Sunderland concede first quite a bit, having to come back. So it could be a Newcastle.
Yeah, we all picked Sunderland, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. 'Cause
First goal scorer. I'm saying Ballard, first goal scorer. Set piece, sets them up.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
You might be right because it's going to be tight for
Aye.
it might come down to something like that, mightn't it?
Mhm.
Long
Yeah.
throw, set piece, corner. Lafayette's a great corner taker. So Xhaka.
Yeah.
They've definitely got that in them there. Like, let's do this is called a wild derby prediction. So something that's going to happen during the derby that we think, sending off major bookings.
I think there'll be a penalty,
penalty, right?
and
Aye.
I think there might be a red card as well.
I'm going to go Bruno to get sent off.
See, I think
He gets that hyped up, doesn't he, Bruno,
Very
for games? And I think in a derby game, you can imagine he's going to be a lot more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pumped up, yeah.
He
That's
gets
the
on
one
the
thing.
ref a lot as well, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I would say about Newcastle, they're definitely, and a bit like Arsenal as well, they're definitely more hyped. They're hyped up. Like, they celebrate the challenges and everything, don't they? Like Joe Linton and
Yeah.
Bruno. They get,
Yeah.
they
Yeah, Bruno loves that one with the crowd, doesn't he? Which sort of winds me up a little bit, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I know it's great for the fans and they love all that, but not every time, Bruno.
Not every time.
You've did a
That's the thing.
standard tackle, you've kicked the ball out, or you've tackled someone on the line, and it's like,
I know.
you want to do like a lap of honour. Like,
Yeah.
calm it down a little
That's
bit,
right,
Bruno.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yes, it's brilliant. We love the passion. We love all that, but hang on a minute. Have a reality check.
Like, maybe once or twice a game that happens.
Yeah, and I
You
don't
get
see
a good
Hume.
tackle.
I don't see Hume do a tackle like that and give it all that to the fans. Do you know what I mean? The crowd do it. That's all that takes.
He does
Yeah,
the tackle, he gets
absolutely.
up his back playing.
Yeah.
And that may play into Sunderland's hands a bit, that level of hype that they get to there. You could be right, red card for getting themselves a little bit over overworked up. Been to the club a few years now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Bruno as well. You get the passion. You get the
He's a talent, absolute talent. He's a special player, very good.
Passing's unbelievable.
And his goal the other night was unbelievable. The ball comes across your body and you're hitting it first time with your right foot, side foot, far corner. It was special, but
he's high on passion.
very high.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he'll certainly get a yellow. Whether he might get a red, who knows?
I'll see what price he is to go with.
Let's get a bet on.
I'll give you a few questions then as we finish up here. So, biggest ever Tyne and Wear derby win?
1908 9-1 Sunderland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Stewie. He's done his homework. I can remember that, actually.
We knew the answer, Tom.
Well, we were just waiting for Stewie to get in, yeah. My buzzer didn't work, Sonny. I was pressing it, and it was batteries, Sonny. You need to get them batteries sorted, mate.
That over it. Who scored Sunderland's winner in the most recent Premier League derby?
Defoe.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Defoe, yeah. Well done, March 2016.
Yeah.
Which Newcastle player scored twice in the last derby, the FA Cup game?
Go
I
on.
went.
No?
Ballard scored the own goal, didn't he? And
Ballard
then,
own
yeah,
goal.
it was wasn't Murphy?
Isak.
Isak. Did he get two? Did he?
Sure. Was it?
Wow.
Well, I'm saying that, Tom. I told you earlier on that ChatGPT
Yeah.
kept saying one of the iconic moments of the derby was when Philip Albert chipped the keeper in a 5-0 win, and we were like, that was Man
United, yeah. Yeah.
It was.
So and it wasn't the only one to get it wrong. It was like ChatGPT said it, and Grok said it, and I was
Really?
like, where are they reading that on the
Wow.
internet somewhere? That was a derby, a Tyne Wear Tyne derby. It was
Isaac, I think, did actually. I'm trying to
name
think.
the only player to score a perfect hat trick in a derby.
Ooh.
Quite a tough question, that one.
How long are we going back?
Very late 70s.
Sonny, I wasn't born then.
Colin
was I?
McDonald.
Gary Rowell.
Gary Rowell.
Gary Rowell.
Gary Rowell.
1979.
Sonny, yeah.
Aye.
Head.
Wow.
Gary Rowell.
Aye, he was a Sunderland, no?
Aye.
Who holds the record for the fastest red card in a derby?
Kevin Ball.
Aye. That would be the first name. wouldn't it?
John Keir.
John Keir.
It's not a player you would think, but Keith Gillespie.
Aye, and
29 seconds.
he wasn't that type
29
of player, was
seconds
he?
after coming on.
Wow.
Yeah. You've got a story about it for another episode, haven't you, with the betting and all that when you were at Man United, Gillespie.
Not so much him, but he was a gambler.
Aye.
Was it not him who used to... It might have been Newcastle. Where was that when he did that? He used to take the bets but not put them on.
That was me, Hartlepool.
Steven.
He was the gambler. He was the
Paul
betting shop.
Stevenson.
Which
Wow.
derby goal is officially the fastest from kick-off?
What year are we looking at?
2001.
Kevin Nolan. Amy Obi.
Phillips.
Kevin Phillips.
Kevin Phillips, 10 seconds after kick-off.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, in 2001.
Wow.
Wow.
Who missed a penalty for Newcastle in the 2002 derby? And then
Shearer, yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy played. Did you play in it?
No.
No.
No, not that one, no.
We've already said this, but who scored an own goal in the last
Ballard.
derby there? Dan
Yeah.
Ballard. Yeah. Who scored Sunderland's consolation goal in the 6-2 thrashing with a 30-yard thunderbolt, still called the best derby goal ever by many people? 2006.
John O'Shea?
2006. Wasn't Liam Lawrence.
Liam Lawrence. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well done, Tommy.
Yeah. In 2011, which Ivory Coast midfielder scored a 95th minute screamer to rescue ones apiece for Newcastle?
Toyota.
Check
Toyota, yeah.
And last
Passed
one
away.
we'll
He
do.
passed away,
Do you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I told you earlier on there's been 157 competitive derbies. How many Newcastle wins?
54.
Yeah.
You can't read off your sheet.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I was just dozing off.
It's tight, isn't it?
It's tight. How many Sunderland wins?
52.
53, it says
53.
on mine.
Yeah,
It said give or
53.
take.
Aye.
Right.
And then obviously 50 draws.
Yeah.
So that's incredibly tight.
Very
isn't it?
tight,
Of course
yeah.
it is. Absolutely.
Incredibly
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah.
Well, like we said earlier, it's that one-off cup game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where form. That's why it's so close.
Irrelevant.
Form's
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
First, I'll give you some stats now, not questions, but first competitive match, right? Consider I told you earlier on about the Civil War in 1640s, when they started, it was Newcastle were royalists, Wear-Tyne back the Parliament. The clubs are founded in Newcastle 1892, Sunderland 1879, but that rivalry was already there when they started the
Yeah.
clubs. So the first competitive match, 24th of December 1892, Sunderland 4, Newcastle 2 in the first ever competitive game. And then 1901 to 1914, Sunderland were classed as the team of all talents, or the Bank of England
The
Club.
Bank of England club, yeah.
Bank of
Yeah,
England
England
Club.
Well, I remember that,
right.
yeah.
And they dominated, and they won 4 out of the 5 derbies between that time by goals of 18-5. And then, as you said, the last stat here, 1908, Sunderland 9, Newcastle 1, still the record victory in that fixture.
Wow.
Good stuff. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
So that's where we'll leave it. We've done our predictions, we've done our sides, we've done our formations, and it's been good. I've enjoyed chatting to you guys. And
Great bit of
Yeah.
crack.
we'll
Excellent.
pick
You're
up the
going to the
game.
game?
I'll be at the game, yeah.
You going, Tom?
I'm not. My son's going with the father-in-law, but I'm not going. No, I'm just
Yeah.
going to watch it on the telly. On it.
In the house?
Yeah.
Aye.
Just watching that.
See, I like to be out.
Do you? See, I'm the flip side of it. I like to watch it in the house where I can watch it properly.
Yeah.
Focus a little bit.
That's true.
If I'm in the
Aye.
pub or whatever, I cannot
You'll
watch
be
it
working,
properly.
are you?
Next Sunday,
Do you?
no, but I won't. I'll be watching it on the telly, definitely. I like it, like games like that where you can just sit, listen to the commentary, listen what they've got to say, take in
Aye.
Yeah.
the proper game.
Build up and everything.
Yeah,
It's great.
brilliant.
And
Well,
depending on win or lose after the game as well. So if you win, you want to stay on and listen to all the
Yeah,
Yeah.
after the game,
Yeah.
don't you? If they lose, it's as soon as that whistle goes, bang.
If they get me, I normally turn off before the full time whistle, mate.
Yeah.
well,
Especially
sorry.
Newcastle do that bloody photo thing as well,
Aye.
don't they? Where they
the
all
changing room.
in the last derby there, in front of their fans, so in front of behind the goal there.
Mhm.
They'd just beat the championship side in the FA Cup, and they all lined up and got a picture in front of the fans, and it was all in a bit like rubber. Not only that, but the Sunderland fans,
Yeah.
Tower Ground, doing that on the pitch, do it in the dressing room, like been
Which they
doing
normally
for
do.
months.
Exactly.
But it wasn't. It was done in front of the fans, so it was a bit sort of distasteful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that,
definitely.
I don't get that because you win a game, you get a big celebration photo in the dressing room. Why? If you've won a cup or you've won
Yeah,
something special or something memorable,
Mhm.
but hang on, you're getting 3 points,
One game.
but everyone's different.
I'll be out for a few pints and get the atmosphere. And
Yeah. Well, we've been offered good money for the tickets, you know.
Have you?
I
People
bet.
trying to buy them. I
bet.
was saying, I think I was talking to Megan yesterday, my daughter, and I was saying about that. And you cannot buy experience in life, can you? Like,
No.
going to the
Oh,
game with
be-
my 2 sons, going to the game with my 2 sons, it's not worth money. That,
No, it's not.
you know what I mean? There's no money that anyone could give me that would that would change that.
No.
So we'll wrap it up there. So it's been a good episode. It's the first one. We'll get into it. We'll get some guests. We'll get this done again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready for next.
You can't
month.
beat just talking about footy, man, honestly.
No.
Excellent. No, it was
Brilliant,
good.
isn't it?
Been good.
And if anyone's listening, if anyone's bothering to listen or watch this, don't forget, get onto socials, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you watch stuff, wherever you listen to stuff, get on there and give us a listen. We're trying to build the show.
Definitely.
Need some support.
Definitely. Hopefully, we've been good to listen to, good to watch, and get on. Yeah, correct. Definitely, it's the way forward.
Yeah.
It is the
Well,
way
I've
forward.
enjoyed it, and I'm not bothered if anyone else has.
And this one's-
Exactly, and so far.
This one's for Simon Ashcroft. We're keeping it going, Si, don't you worry.